Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Well, so much for the 1 minute intro.
Well, so that was a short minute.
No kidding, it just switched right over. Evening, folks. Thank you for joining us for another edition of DAX Machina, complete with technical difficulties right off the bat. Never fails. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Looks like Lanita's in the house. Mark Napier, Willamette Valley Cryptids. Hi, Meg. Meg Mills is here. Daniel Sanford. David By. Hey, buddy. Daniel.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. Mondoc. Hey, Mondoc. David By again. AJ Congdon. Tombstone's in the house. Whew, there's a lot. We already got quite a few out there. Well, folks, thank you guys for jumping in. And a big thanks to all my moderators tonight that are in the house. We've got ammo out the wazoo in the house. How's it going? Just here and there, 66. John Doe has jumped in. Folks, thank you guys for joining us. We are experimenting tonight here on DAX Machina. We are broadcasting not with StreamYard, but with Melon. Melon app is a different streaming service. I got an offer that I couldn't turn down, a lifetime discount coupon code, which basically saved me about $60 a month. So I couldn't say no. So we are trying Melon out, making sure everything works okay. So we might be a little bit of technical issues tonight. So just bear with us as we're trying to figure this thing out. Kerry Pocket Doc Davis will be joining us here shortly. We got Robbie Rains, my brother, from South Carolina. There's the Doc. Doc is in the house. Doc, how the hell are you?
Wyatt, I am rolling.
You don't look rolling. You look less than enthused.
I was trying to get. I just got home and I was trying to get this flipping thing to go.
We're all going.
You ain't the only one, Doc.
Yeah. Anthony, I had to send a direct link to Anthony. He still hasn't got it figured out. You and Robbie got in okay, but
because it kept sending me a damn login code and then it wouldn't open up. Oh, you've already used that code. I hadn't. I just used it.
Right.
Well, I can't see the chat. I can see that there's 97 people in the chat, but I can't open it up to actually see what people are saying. So
You can't?
Yeah, chat
Nope.
just opened up for me.
I can see it.
I can't.
Man.
Did you click on the chat icon there, Robbie?
Yeah, it's got a spot right there where the chat would normally be scrolling up, but
Are you selected private instead of stream? Click stream.
where's
I know
where's
you were
that?
chatting with us in the private one earlier, playing around with it.
Should go right.
Yep.
Should be right
Where-
next to it.
Oh, share stream. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it says
no.
private.
You go up the upper right side where it says chat. That button,
Right.
and it'll pop up a window, and at the top it'll say stream or private. Click on stream.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That's what I said, Doc.
See, we thought we were going to have all this stuff figured out before we went on the air, but somebody showed up at the last minute, and then of course Anthony still hasn't figured out how to log in.
Had I not got behind two damn horse trailers, I'd have been home plenty of time.
No.
Had nowhere to go and all day to get there. Driving Miss Daisy or some crap. Good Lord.
Well, we're glad you're here, Doc.
Mamaw was slow, but she was old. Lord.
What was it Scotty said on was it Star Trek 4? And if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon.
That's true. I forgot that.
I like that. Oh, holy crap.
Yeah, I can't even see how many people are in.
Yep. It's not even giving me that option. It's just
to me, it's just up at the top, says 43. And also, while we do like the 30-second countdown lead in on StreamYard,
Yeah.
started doing that, went live, and it immediately played my intro.
What?
Wow. Hey,
So
folks, as
I've got to
usual-
change some settings.
As usual, folks, we are a well-oiled machine.
right.
That is
We're running like a
no
Swiss
joke.
car.
Really nice, Clark. Really nice.
All right. Well, I figured out what I did wrong now, so I think I will have that fixed for the next show. Fingers crossed. Well, again, thank you folks for jumping in, joining us tonight. We're going to have a good show for you guys tonight. I think we're going to have a good time doing this. Well, first thing we're going to talk about is Robbie has been going out to an area that they're doing some research in, and they're getting some really interesting results, including well, I'll let him tell what they found, but got some really cool stuff about to happen. Tomorrow evening, my son and my adopted son, Connor, we're all going out to a Civil War graveyard, and we're going to attempt to pick up some EVPs, and of course we'll do the all the little EMF detectors and everything. We're going to try all that. But according to the legend, quite a few local people have gone out to this old Civil War cemetery. It's out on the edge of town, and people have been scratched and shoved at this cemetery. So we'll see what happens. Cowboys 5 ring says howdy. Meg says, Doc, I told someone about your med kit. She uses Medical One now, but she's going to check it out. Awesome.
We're better. Thank you, Meg.
Anthony, how come you're off? Oh, I know why. Never mind. Robbie, why don't you start telling us about your research area and some of the stuff you found so far?
All right. Well, this is the same area that we talked about last time. I can't remember if Doc was on that show or not, but Norman and his nephew, my daughter and her boyfriend, and my partner all went up there yesterday to do just a little small investigation. This is the place where I found the tracks and had the sighting of something. So we go back in to right about where I saw the tracks, and obviously it'd been raining, not every day, but a good bit since the last time we were in there. So the tracks were washed out except for that heel print. It was still kind of prevalent. When we were walking around, we actually found a way to get up to that cave area we saw. So my daughter and her boyfriend went up first because they're younger, more nimble than we are. So they go up first, and then they get to a certain spot. And my daughter's boyfriend's 6'8". He's not a small youngin'.
That's a big dude.
Yeah.
6'8"?
And 6'8".
Jesus Christ.
He's a big youngin', as we'd say, Doc.
Big
Yeah,
young.
he is a big youngin'. I mean, they must be feeding them good down there in South Kakalaki.
Yeah, we try.
What size is his foot?
Probably pretty close to a small Bigfoot.
You should have him. You should have him take off his shoe. Yeah.
So
The tracks you found might have been his.
Yeah.
could have been. I never did check that. I didn't ask him to take his shoe off.
Make sure he got his boots on before he even cast a track.
Yeah. So they get up there, and Tyler's like, I don't think that I could make that step from that one scrape to another. So I got them to come back down, and I went back up to where they had stopped at, and I got to looking around, and I saw what they were talking about, and it wasn't like it was on a flat hill either. It was like that. I mean, it was going almost 45-degree angle up. And I would probably say they were 3.5 to 4 feet from one track mark or scuff mark, scrape mark, whatever you want to call it, to the next one. And something was going up the hill, and the cave kind of went off to the left and on a ledge. But where this cave was, or I keep calling it a cave, it was more like a big overhang. But it went back in about 4.5, 5 feet back under that big rock. It was an outcrop. It's probably where like when it rains really heavy, I'm sure there's probably a little waterfall that forms there because there's a little washout underneath it where you can see a lot of trash that washed off the top of the hill that ends up forming down that little washout in a little basin. But as I get to that spot, and I'm starting to look at that, everything just went deathly quiet right around where I was at. I could still hear all the cicadas and the tree frogs and crickets and everything back down the bottom of the hill around the trail, but everything around me was just silent. And all of a sudden, I got a smell that hit me in the face, and I was like, huh. And I knew what I smelled, and I'll go ahead and tell everybody here what I smelled. I smelled wet dog and something sour and almost like a rotten meat type smell, rotten carcass something. So I turned around and looked, and I whistled back for my partner. And this is my partner at the police department. He was up there with me. Got his attention, got him to come up there. And when he got up to me, I said, "Do you smell anything?" And he looked around and he said, yeah, I smell wet dog. And he said, and he looked at me. He used to be a park ranger before he was a police officer. He said, well, that could be a bear. And I said, yeah. I said, well, you smell anything else? And he said, almost like something sour. And sort of like something that's rotted. So we both smelled the exact same thing, the exact 3 smells or odors. And, I didn't feed him anything. I just let him tell me what he smelled. So the wind was blowing towards us, so we were downwind from whatever it was. Well, he works his way around over to the little overhang area while I stood there and kind of watched, and the rest of them were down on the trail. We kind of hear some, can't tell what it was, but we heard something way up on the ridge moving around. So Morris goes on over the log, kind of gets down, looks around that little area there. He looks down around the moss, and I see him pop his head back up, and he looks up at me, and his eyes are about the size of saucers that you put a coffee cup on. And I said, what? And he goes, found hair. He mouthed, I found hair. And I'm like, no. So I turned around and hollered for my daughter and Tyler to get back up here because they had all the evidence collection stuff. So they get up there and don't know what this is. Don't know what it might be. But we found some hair.
Got leaf litter mixed in it.
Yep. It was in some moss, but it's hair.
What'd the hair smell like?
He said it sort of smelled about the same smell we were catching. Can you see it, Doc?
Yeah, I got my readers on. I can see it better now.
We might have to see if Doug Highcheck would take a look at that.
Yeah, he can look at it through his microscope. He's got that big scope.
I've been in the woods my whole life. I've been a deer hunter. That's long for deer hair, even for the tail. Wouldn't you agree, Doc?
Yeah, that's
Anthony, would you agree too?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you how long the hair was. If you unroll
Well, if you look at it, it starts like right there, but it goes and curls back up. It's probably about 2.5, 3 inches long.
Dang.
Yeah, it's even for a bear. It's
That's long for a deer, unless it's one of them rare South Carolina long-haired whitetails.
Could be.
I'm being facetious. No, it's that's definitely long, dude. I'd like to see what Doug Highcheck says about that, man.
Yeah.
To do an analysis on it.
Anthony, you want to reach out to Doug and see what he says?
Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
Okay.
Tell him that Robbie found some hair in Robbie.
What color is the hair? I can't really tell. Is it black or dark brown?
It's it's got that leaf litter mixed in with it, but it does look like it's kind of a lightish, maybe a blondish color on one end and more of a dark brown. Which, if you remember when we were talking about last time when Johnny and I was out there, I saw brown, he saw a lighter color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we call cinnamon. Okay, it's cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Cinnamon.
So Bigfoot's a stripper now?
Cinnamon.
Could be.
Hey, $20.
Well, Margolin said that in one of the books.
Gotta earn a living somehow. Come on.
You know what he does?
Margolin said if he shaved her, she might look good on a stripper pole or something like that.
I remember that.
He said it would have been different. He'd had a beard trimmer, some lip gloss, and a jar of peach preserves. Oh, Doc's losing it.
We broke Doc again.
Peach preserves is for.
You probably don't want
to know.
I just
No.
don't
The thing about it is when I write Margolin, even I'm astounded at some of the crap that comes out of his mouth.
Embrace
like
the suck.
He's such
Damn it, Captain.
Yeah, he's such a developed character that y'all be just cruising along, and I know how these characters react, and I just let the dialogue flow the way I think the characters would react, and sometimes I'll stop and go, "Where the hell did that come from?" And it usually involves Margolin.
Oh man, yeah,
He is one of my favorite characters.
He is one of mine too. Meg, that is indeed that's a Viking battle axe. I got a couple of them back there on the wall. So yeah, that's battle axe back there, and a sword. Yeah, an old
2 or 3 swords over here just out of reach.
I
like that sword.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I got
Not a problem.
I got 2 Ulfberts. But so Robbie, you said your buddy said the one he saw was lighter colored, right?
When he and I were out there the first time that I went out with him,
Mhm.
when I told you we saw something up behind a rock that's about the size you could park a Civic behind. What I saw was like a medium to darker brown, but we were like probably a good 2.5, 3 feet apart, and where the sun was, he would have saw a different angle, so he saw a lighter color than I saw.
Okay, Anthony, what color was the one you saw, man, in your
Black.
scope?
It was black. It was pure black.
Okay,
It was a dark cinnamon.
like a dark with charcoal, kind of charcoalish grayish skin almost.
okay.
So,
You said
Anthony's
it's kinda
chocolate.
the what?
You said it was kind of Aboriginal looking.
Yeah, it looked more like that's what it looked like. Looked like the Aborigines from Australia.
Yeah.
Had that caveman, almost caveman look, man. That's what it looked like to me.
Gotcha.
Now, Robbie,
That's crazy.
before we came on the air, your daughter was in there with you when we were talking. You said she said she jumped down in a cave and found some nesting areas.
Yep. So after we got the hair sample taken care of, her and Tyler kind of crawled around down there to look a little bit further in it. And as Taylor was looking around, she looks over and she noticed 2 areas that had leaves and sticks and things like that pulled together in a bedding area.
Nice.
So, and it was
Did
that.
she didn't get pictures of that, right?
Yeah, she got pictures and video of all that. I just didn't
really?
get a chance to put it together to get to you so you could put it up tonight. So
Nice.
That will probably be next Wednesday's show. I've already got a topic for this Saturday. We're going to do a show on the Wendigo.
Ooh.
Wendigo.
As long as there's no snowmobiles involved, I'm down like 4 flat tires.
That's it.
Well, that's going to get brought up.
I
Yeah,
figured it
yeah.
would. I'll wear my shirt.
There you go.
I'll wear my shirt that night.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so she got some pictures and some videos. She actually had her little the camera that you and I were talking about earlier, Anthony. When you sent me the link to, I said she already had that. She had that at first, and she kind of videoed the walk in and some things that we were talking about before we walked in. And then she kind of switched over to her phone because her phone did a little bit better. It was quieter and got a little bit better video and pictures. So
How big is the cave?
I'll get her to put all that.
Yeah.
How big is the cave? How big is it? The entranceway and inside. How
Yeah.
big is it?
I would say it probably went back. I never actually made it over into it, but the way it sounded that Tyler was explaining it to him, like I said, he's a big young, and he said he could have laid down there comfortably.
Really?
So yeah,
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never heard of a bear doing that. Even black bear bringing in stuff like that to do that. So
Man.
so
Got a
whether
question
or not
for you, from Robbie from Cowboys
Do what?
5. He says, were the nestings in the cave the same size or different?
I don't know for sure if she said they were the same size or if they were different, but they were both pretty big. Is what she said.
Wow, man. That's cool.
I can't wait to get the video and pictures for that.
Okay.
Yep, I'm gonna
guys,
get her to
look
put
for
all that
next
stuff together.
Wednesday. We'll be doing
Yeah.
doing more about Robbie's expedition, and hopefully Norman Meredith will be joining us. He was going to join us tonight to talk about it, but he said he wasn't feeling well. So Norm, hope you get feeling better, and we'll see. Hopefully, we'll have you next week.
Yeah, if anybody asks any questions, DA, you're gonna have to either relay it to me or pop it up because I still can't see the chat.
Oh, okay. Tony Harris says, I found an area with 4 different circular areas all swept out about 4 to 5 feet from each other. It was near some clawed out logs, so I assumed bears, but I have no idea.
Huh.
If the logs were clawed out, I would say it was probably bears looking for grubs.
Yeah. Bears usually claw logs like that, looking for grubs and termites and things like that because they'll eat those a lot.
I've seen bears rip a log apart.
Yeah. And Robbie, did she say whether the cave or the bedding stunk like that or anything like that? Like
She said once she got in there, she smelled that same smell. She didn't smell it on the outside where Morris and I did, but once she got in there, she said she smelled that same smell.
Huh.
Okay. Okay. Did she find any hair in there, or she didn't look?
I don't think she. I think she just kind of went in there right quick. She said there was a lot of spiders, and she didn't want to stay in there.
Yeah. Angie'd be gone too if there were spiders. Like, if there were spiders in there, she'd be out there.
Yeah.
So when you go back in there, man, are you going to go back and visit that cave?
Oh yeah. We're gonna plan another one. I think everybody that was out there kind of got hooked.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, after seeing that, did it smell? Did she say it smelled like? Did it smell like urine at all inside there, or?
Well, she said the same wet dog, sour smell type. I don't know if she said anything about urine or anything like that. But like I said, what was cool about that spot where it was at is it was kind of like in the middle of that big hill area, so you had easy access to get down to that trail. You could go back up. There's a way that it could go back up on the ridge up above it, which is where we heard. Me and Morris actually heard something. And like it started out, we were both looking, and it's like started out from our right and moved all the way across the ridge. And Norman and them actually started hearing it once it got down. It was getting further, and it was actually going back towards the area where Johnny and I went the first time, where we heard, or where he had his encounter the first time.
George Jennings says, "Did it smell like French fried orange juice?" I'm not entirely sure what that would smell
I don't know what French fried orange juice smells like. Maybe.
I don't know what that means either, but okay.
It smelled like mustard and biscuits.
Potted meat. Mm-hmm.
Hey, how far back did the cave go, Robbie? Did she tell you?
About 4.5 feet, something like that. And it was, it was really wide, but
like an overhang.
It's just like a big, it's just a big boulder that's been washed out and there's an overhang. There's little rock outcroppings like that all over the woods in South Carolina. My grandmother used to have a big rock like that. There's big sandstone and probably some granite and shale and different rocks like that. And this thing was huge. It probably weighed 5 or 6 tons.
There was no one camping there. There was no campfire that went out or
no. There was nothing, because that was the first thing Morse looked for when he went over there. Before anybody else went, he looked to see if there was any signs of human. He said, "Now, could some homeless person have been bedding there? Yeah, but more than likely, there would have been some human trace left there, and he didn't see any of that."
Yeah, that's crazy,
man.
Yeah, you guys got to look for hair inside that bedding too. You should have looked for hair.
Yeah, so next time you get back, definitely record that too. Make sure they're wearing gloves when they collect it.
Yeah, as far as I know, now I take that back because Morris picked it up before anybody got there, so it's
might be.
I think he was a little excited and reached out and picked it up first, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
we hadn't had our little class on it yet that we talked about.
When they just said sling blade, which one of you did that? I'm laughing my butt off. It was kind of a sling blade off. I think we all did it at one point. Doc doesn't.
How much going for them taters?
I went to the fast food restaurant the other day and I said, "Y'all got any sweet tea in there?"
Have you ever seen the guy do that on YouTube when he goes through McDonald's?
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's pretty hilarious.
I know. And the lady's like, "What?" Yeah.
Reckon I got no reason to kill nobody.
I'm in there because I done killed me a man. Some people calls it a Kaiser blade. I calls it a sling blade.
I love that movie. Cowboy says Doc sounds just like him. Yeah, Doc does do a damn good Carl.
I like the way you talk, Robbie.
You got a pretty mouth.
Robbie does it deeper. Robbie does it deeper.
I'm not in West Virginia anymore, Robbie.
Hey, 2 good movies. You figure you gotta ad lib and improvise.
That's right.
Oh,
Holy crap, man!
That's what my brother and I used to do. That we used to do Carl in every movie. Like, you're gonna need a bigger boat.
Now that's going to be a Mandela effect. People are going to remember Carl saying that.
Wait a minute, Carl was in that movie, not Roy Scheider.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Hey, Robbie, how far is that place from where you live, man?
It's actually not that far. I mean, it's from where I work. It's probably only 20 minutes. From my house, it's maybe 30 at the most. It's just up Highway 11.
Wow, man.
So theoretically, it could show up at your house.
Well,
There's been many a times researchers have gone out and had one follow them home.
Yeah.
well, I have the welcoming committee.
The 58 welcoming committee.
The Punisher will be waiting. I would say down here, but he's scared of his own shadow most times. But so
Yeah, same thing with Harley. If it's bigger than a squirrel, he wants no part of it.
Yeah,
But I've
Ducky be
never
like,
had a dog that
no
had a
thanks,
more
Dad. You handle that one. I'm good.
I've never had a dog that had a more pathological hatred of squirrels. That dog absolutely hates squirrels.
But and what was funny is somebody said something when we were out there. Somebody said something about three toes. I turned and looked at him. I said, "Don't we talk about three toes? We don't even mess with no guggies." I said, "This thing's if I see something that looks like a baboon up there, we out of here."
Red Lake View Man one too many times, have you?
Yeah. I said, "I don't want that thing get." I looked at Marsh. I said, "Good thing we in your truck because it's gonna have your truck smell, not mine."
Well, I know you guys went strapped, right? You guys have your sight on.
Oh, yeah.
Rifle?
I had 4.58. Morris had his 6.56 Creedmoor. I let Tyler have my son's AR-15. Norman, I believe, had his sidearm, and Morris and I both had our on-duty 9s, and Tyler had my 9mm on. So we had enough to make it think if it decided to be violent.
At that moment, you guys were the third largest standing army in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Definitely in Pickens, which we wouldn't in Pickens. We're in Greenville, so
Man, that's a good point that DA makes though about how because those things are obviously good trackers. You know?
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of I wasn't thinking about that when he brought it up. And I was like, "Woo, that's a little bit scary."
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, 'cause
Well-
they do. Yeah, it's been known they follow people home. We all know that. So, numerous stories, people say that. But
Yeah.
So, Robbie, if you start noticing things, like if your wife hears something slap the side of the house when you ain't home, let us know.
Well, that would be something really, really amazing because I don't have one of those. So
yeah,
That'd be another show right there.
Okay, well, if your daughter notices something slapping,
There we go.
you're like, wait, when did I get a wife? What are you?
Wait a minute, where'd you come? Mandela effect.
Yeah,
I didn't have you when I left here. What happened? Where'd you come
yeah.
from?
Who are you and why are you in my house?
Like I don't remember you at all.
Holy crap, man.
That would be hilarious. Robbie come on next week and be like, bro, I got a wife all of a sudden. I don't know what happened.
And you three would be like, "Yeah, we knew about that. What are you talking about? What's wrong with you?"
This is funny.
Oh Lord. Here
Hey,
we go.
Brunson says, South Kakalaki boy here. Oh,
There we go.
Here we go.
Love the South
Mag-
Kakalaki
Zick 'em.
stuff.
Somebody's looking it.
I don't know how to block
Once
them
I'm
on
glad I
this.
can't see the chat then.
Yeah, I'd be glad. Oh, there it goes. Somebody got it. Who got it off of there?
Damn it, Bobby.
Probably
I don't know
Meg.
how to do it on this.
Meg probably grabbed it.
Probably.
Ain't got no gas in it.
Hey,
Yeah,
Doc,
I can't-
what is your favorite King of the Hill episode?
Oh, I like it when he meets his Hmong neighbors. That's one of my favorite ones.
My favorite one of all time. Here, Bobby, grab my hand and they'll swarm on to me. Where it shows it from Bobby's eyes and the ants are crawling all over his eyes.
Oh, God.
I have
The number two is when they're all firemen and they're all going through what happened. And Boomhauer recalls it and he talks like normal and everybody else talks like him. I was just sitting there reading the auto.
I didn't.
Mark Napier caught it. So he caught the nice dating site thing. Mark
Okay.
caught it.
Here's a good question for you, DA, for your apex predator. When in the
I was
time
answering that.
when does the timeline does the newest apex predator book fit?
Comes in right after Lakeview 3, east of Blunk Road. It's not been added to the website because I lost my website guy, and I suck at website design. So I've got to get my my son to help me fix the website. So it needs an update.
All right.
Meg says Mark swung his hammer. No, Tombstone said that. Mark swung the band hammer.
Good.
Whew. Well, thank you guys for getting that out of there. I completely forgot about that probably popping up again now that we're on a different stream service. Steve Patton says, at Robbie, when were you wearing when you were out there? Were you in the area in question? Were you wearing your brown pants?
No, they were green.
They're green. Willamette Valley Cryptid says, only time I found a three-toed print, I took pics in 2010. Also saw the thing that made the track. No Bigfoot. Have no idea what it was. Didn't take a pic because it was coming down the hill and I didn't have time. If it was coming down the hill, I don't blame you for not taking pictures. I would have been, picking them up and putting them down as well. One of the things that we also wanted to talk about was after we had a chance to go through Robbie's research, which we are going to be going in more depth once we've got the videos and pictures so we can share them. But we were going to talk about different techniques that people have used in the research for Bigfoot. Now, Anthony, Robbie, and Doc and I are going to attempt to try to explain some of the aspects and answer some questions. We'll have any questions you guys have. And now, granted, none of us are experts at this. None of us. Well, okay, Robbie's an expert tracker, but that's a whole different story. But none of us are considered
expert. But yeah.
None of us are considered experts in this, so take what we say with a grain of salt. Where we are going to talk about is what has worked for us and not worked for us in the past, and if it works for you in your own research when you look around, when you're looking for signs of Bigfoot. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, just let us know. But it's something that we wanted to bring up and talk about things that did and did not work. Who wants to start? Oh, that freaking site hit us again. God dang it. Good God. They are spamming the crap out of us tonight.
Yeah.
Robbie, you want to tell us a little bit about tracking?
Yeah. Tracking. I'll start out with the kind of tracking that we do as far as law enforcement, and it works the same way. There's micro tracking and there's macro tracking. And micro tracking is just like you find something, let's say you find a track, and the thing that a lot of people get caught up on first when we're talking about tracks, in the movies you see that perfect track all the time. It's all, you see everything, all the detail. That's not the way it works in the real world. These guys will tell you that. Very, very, very rarely do you find a pristine, everything you need track, whether you're tracking animals, whether you're tracking humans, whether you're tracking Bigfoot, whatever you're tracking. A lot of times you're just going to find partials. And you have to build that library of what, like you get a right side of a foot on, this side, then, a couple hundred yards, you might get the left side of the foot or the front or the back. You have to constantly be building that mental picture of what that track looks like. So anyway, micro tracking is you find something, and in tracking we refer to anything on the ground. Well, anything that's left by an organism is called spore. Not like, excrement spore, but spore like tracks, broken limbs up in the tree, up in eye level area, discoloration where ground has been scuffed, rocks that are knocked out of socket, scrapes, any of that kind of stuff. That's referred to as spore. So when you're tracking it and you're micro tracking, you find something and you're slowly moving from that spot to the next thing, just really slow and meticulous, which is going to give you a headache. It's a pain in the butt, but you have to start out that way at first. Even especially when you're first tracking, you have to micro track to find what you're looking for. But then once you find that, you move on to what's called macro tracking, which is, okay, you got a tracking team. I'm on spore. I got it right here. So I'm looking up and I'm looking in the direction that I think whatever I'm tracking is moving. And I'm looking for those, as we call fresh meat, the breaks in the trees, limbs, scuffed moss, things like that. I'm looking for that. As soon as I find that, I'm moving to the next one. Okay, here, I'm on it right here. And I'm constantly moving to the next ground spore, air spore, whatever it may be. And for me, that works when you're tracking a human or out tracking Bigfoot, because the first time that Johnny and I were out there, we were able to use that. We found the first track line, and I was able to cross the walking path pretty quick and get to that next set of ground spore. Now, had we gone up that hill, that's the way I would have continued on. But as of that day, we kind of stopped right there. Now, yesterday or day before yesterday when we were out there, or it was yesterday, I guess, lose my days. I did use that going up the hill, that macro tracking of, okay, there's one, looking ahead, find one 10, 15 yards ahead of me, moving on to the next one. And there's no living organism that's going to go into an environment and not leave some type of trace. No matter how careful y'all, Doc can tell you this in combat, DA can speak to this in law enforcement like I can. You're going to leave some type of trace evidence. You can even track people in urban areas, because the second part of my tracking class when I go to, that's what we're going to learn is tracking in urban areas. And that's hard, but you can do it. So it's all about knowing what you're looking for, finding it, and once you see and you see what you're looking for, then you just look for it to repeat itself. Because things in nature are not, you don't have sharp angles, you don't have 90-degree angles, you don't have things like that in nature. So the human eye naturally looks for stuff like that. That's why it's so hard to camouflage yourself as a sniper, because the human eye is designed to look for stuff like that in nature. So tracking is just, it's about practice. You just got to go out there and do it. Anybody can do it.
And it is just a matter of, it's a skill like any other. You've got some people that are just born with a natural ability to do it, but it is a skill that can be taught. And Robbie does it for law enforcement, so he's the guy I want on my team. I'm fairly good at it, but I've never had formal training other than my Uncle Buddy teaching me to track as a youngster. Willamette says tracking Bigfoot is not unlike tracking a human except for the vertical terrain.
No, it's pretty much the same. I mean, because you're looking for the same type of, because you're looking for stride, you're looking for straddle, you're looking for gait, you're looking for pressure releases, you're looking for all the stuff that you would be looking for if you're tracking a human. You're looking for if you're tracking a Bigfoot, because their locomotion is the same as ours. If they're walking upright, they're going to make the same movements in the forest or in the woods that we would. The only thing that's different is if they know they're probably not going to break limbs like we would, because they're not. I mean, if they were running, obviously they're not going to be able to run through without as big as they are. But they're probably a little bit more careful in the woods than we are. But you got something that weighs 900 to 1,000 pounds. It's going to leave marks. You just got to know what to look for.
Now, Robbie, one thing I wanted to ask you about was that trackway you found. What first alerted you to it? I mean, when the pictures we had, I know with the naked eye it looks very different than in a picture, because I can go out in the backyard and look at the side of the house and then take a picture, and there won't be the
right.
depth in the picture.
You're talking about the very first prints.
Yes, the very first
not
prints you
what,
found.
not what I found yesterday.
Mhm.
What got me to it? We got a term in track called track trap. And like if I was out, it's just like Pac-Man, track trap. If I want to let my team know we got some soft sand, mud, clay, wet grass, anything like that, or what's called track traps, what we refer to. It's anything that's going to leave a really good impression or a really good track. And I just told Johnny, I said, this path that we're traveling on is, there's a lot of track traps in here, and as smart as these animals are, they're not going to stay on this path a whole lot. They're gonna get over the path really quick. And as I was explaining that to him, he looked over and he said, "Well, what about right there on that bank where that dirt looks like it's kicked up a little bit?" And I turned over and looked, and that's right. And as soon as I looked at it, I could see that that's when you look things like discoloration of dirt and leaves kicked over. You look at a leaf that's been flipped over, and you can tell like how long the sun's been. If it's the same color as on bottom and top, then it's been turned over for a while. But if it's a different color, then obviously it's just gotten flipped over.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at things like if a track's got water in it, you can look at the ridges around the edge of the track. There's so many things that you can look for, and you don't have to focus on one or all of them. You just have to start looking for those things, those little small, like I talked about, those little small things that aren't supposed to be there. Rocks out of the socket. I found one of those yesterday. Right there next to where that trackway was, a rock that's kicked up and it's got wet dirt on the bottom of it. The sun hadn't had a chance to dry the dirt out yet, so obviously that rock had been knocked out of that socket fairly recently.
Well, it's even like with Doc had the Doc and DA. I mean, even if you're wearing a ghillie suit, you're breaking up your shape out in the wild. And I'm sure Doc had experienced this when him being in and working with special operations and stuff like that. It's hard to detect. I mean, if they're really good, you got the perfect predator wearing a ghillie suit that's on him 24 hours. That breaks up it's breaking up their silhouette.
Mm-hmm. So
not a lot, the only time you're really going to see anything is when it's peeking around a tree, or if it makes a movement, or eye shine. It's crazy. Like what you said, the shapes. That's the first thing they teach you is to pick out shapes in the woods.
Yep.
Certain shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And some of these guys are
really we were taught with deer hunting.
Yeah, some of these guys are really good with ghillie suits. I mean, extremely good. Yeah. I mean, you can walk past somebody 2 feet in front of them, and I've done it. And not to get off topic, but I did it with the game warden. I had a ghillie suit on. We were turkey hunting, and we were in an area that we weren't supposed to be in. And the game warden came pulling up, got out. I just laid down with my ghillie suit, covered myself. The dude walked in 2 feet in front of me, didn't even spot me, and kept walking. It was me and my buddy, and it was like, okay. I mean, when you're not looking, like I said, people are not looking for that. They're looking for a human being shape that's out there. You got a Bigfoot running around with the perfect ghillie suit and camouflage. Let alone the hair being hollow and it's taking on different color.
Yeah.
So that's even better.
I mean, look at it from a deer hunt standpoint. I mean, like something Robbie said, something we've all talked about in different shows is, our eyes are, we pick up movement. And I mean, how many times has anyone who's a deer hunter been deer hunting and you didn't even realize there's a freaking whitetail 75 yards in front of you until the hooker moves its head or moves a little bit. Holy crap.
How about a grouse in short grass?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a grouse could be 2 feet in front of you, and short grass, you won't even see it.
Yeah. Or
you're
a
like,
rabbit.
what the hell?
Yeah, even a rabbit, they have camouflage until they move. Sometimes you don't see them, and that's what we cue into. So that's a big thing.
Tammy, we'll all be saying a prayer for your husband. Hope he gets to feeling better.
Yeah, prayers up, Tammy.
Yeah, sorry. I am very sorry.
Well, in nature is the way everything is designed. I mean, just look at something as simple as the design of a great white shark. The color of it on top versus the color on bottom.
You
You know,
can't spot
if
it.
you're over top of it, you can't see it because of the color. It blends in with the bottom of the ocean.
It's
And if you're
predator
underneath,
designed for its environment.
Right.
yeah. So I mean, if something like that is that well designed for its environment, how well is something like Sasquatch going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got the
I mean,
perfect ghillie suit. It's got the perfect ghillie suit on. It's picking up branches. It's picking up. I mean, and that's what they teach you. When you make your own ghillie suit, they make you crawl, get it wet, pick up brush, get it dirty, and you don't wash it. You
seasoning it.
Right.
Yep.
You leave it like that.
Right.
So when you're in your environment, you're still picking up shit when you're crawling around.
Yep.
Okay.
100%.
I mean,
Anthony?
so this thing is picking up everything as it's walking and crawling and doing. You're not going to spot it unless it's like people say, it was 3 feet and 4 feet in front of me and popped up, and I didn't even know it was there. I mean, come on.
Anthony, what did you do in the Marines?
Yeah, so that
I'd rather not say, but anyway.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna go out on a limb and guess you know what you're talking about when it comes to camouflage.
Yes.
Okay. How hard is it to go into a thickly wooded setting and find a man-sized individual in a ghillie suit that doesn't want to be found?
Very hard. Very
And
hard.
now, what if that, in the case of like a Bigfoot, they are bred into that environment and know it 1,000 times better than you ever will? How hard would we find one if it doesn't want to be found?
You're not gonna, because I've seen instructors walk right past. I've seen instructors walk right past guys in ghillie suits, and
that's a guy that's been trained to do it, wasn't born into it.
And anybody can, anybody can watch that on a documentary. But yeah, it's so hard, it's ridiculous. I mean, you got seasoned guys out there. Think of Carlos Halfcock. They didn't have big ghillie suits back then.
No, they had to make them themselves.
Right, and this guy crawled through an open field to shoot that Vietnamese colonel, and it took him 4 days to do it. And he was never spotted.
Incredible sniper.
Right, he never spotted. So I mean, come on. I mean, it wasn't. It's so hard.
If a human can be taught to do that, how much better would be something that was born to it?
And right, like they say, they're the perfect hide and seek champion.
Yeah,
you're not going to do it.
So folks, take that into consideration when you're out doing your research.
Yeah, you're not going to do it.
If you see one, you either through some miraculous luck surprised it, which is probably next to impossible, or it just didn't care. It wanted
mine
you to see
standing next to a telephone
it's curious about you.
Yeah,
mine is standing next to a telephone pole, which the bushes were only knee high. I didn't see it till it moved its head. And it was an open field of telephone poles going all the way down this telephone cut, and I didn't see it until it turned its head.
Yeah, there are times when if it's not moving, you ain't seeing it. Sorry, Doc, go ahead.
No, that's like out here in Colorado, man. Some of the game wardens I know out here, they're like, with all the big cats we have out here, they're like, brother, honestly, if you see a big cat, that thing has seen you a long time before you saw it.
Oh yeah,
that's how it is.
So that's where that kind of bears it would stand to reason that if you're out there looking for these cryptids, if you do happen to see one, you're probably not surprising it. It's surprising you, and it's probably seeing you way longer than before you ever saw it.
Well, hell, even when we were deer hunting and hog hunting, we didn't see, there was a panther that was 5 feet from us. We didn't even see it.
Bingo.
Came right out of the palmetto bushes, and we were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This was
same thing with feral pigs.
Yeah. I mean,
they'll be on you before you know they're there.
Yeah. I mean, didn't even know that cat was laying in the palmettos until we walked within 3 feet of it, and it got up. And it didn't stick around. It just took off. But
I mean, hell, how many of y'all been out in the woods at nighttime? I remember this when I was a kid. We was out in the woods playing hide and seek out in the woods like a bunch of knuckleheads at my mom and daddy's place. And I come up I scared up a covey of quail.
Yeah.
Holy sweet baby
That'll
Jesus.
Scare the hell out of you. Yeah.
Oh my God, man. And they were right there. But they'll do the same thing in daylight too.
Oh yeah, they'll scare the crap out of you.
Yeah, they will. Big time.
Yeah, I got to jump off here and go pick him up, but I'll be right back.
All right,
brother. Be careful.
We'll see you in a few minutes, Anthony. Drive careful, brother.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna, and that's what always worries me about people who go out absolutely unprepared, for an encounter, and they have an encounter, then they're not prepared for it because they don't understand that these things have been out there. That's their environment. That's their home. That's their world. And if they don't see it, or it doesn't mean it's not there. Just because they don't see it does not mean it's not there. They could be getting watched from afar or even up close, well before anything would ever get spotted by them, by their naked eye. So, like Anthony said, they're the world champion hide and seek, or the hide and seek world champions. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've got a
Reigning
T-shirt.
defending world hide and seek champion.
That's right.
Yeah, I've got a T-shirt that says it shows a Bigfoot standing by a tree. And it says a reigning all-time world hide and seek champion. But tonight I'm representing Dark Angel Medical. Nice shirt.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
I had on too, Robbie.
Yep.
Oh, mercy.
I had to go with the werewolf shirt though.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
I wore my Dark Angel shirt yesterday, and it didn't smell too good coming out of out from under the body armor. So I didn't really feel like wearing it again tonight.
I remember those days. Something else I wanted to mention, and folks, bear that in mind when people talk about why nobody ever gets good photographs of Bigfoot. If they do see something, it's maybe through the bushes or sometimes nothing at all. I mean, people think they get something and it just turns out to be pareidolia. But the reason that is these things don't really want to be photographed and they don't want to be found. And if a sniper or somebody who was in special forces can go out into the woods and just disappear, how much easier is it at something that was born in a ghillie suit and born to that environment? So if you get a good look at one, it was either an accident or it intended for you to see it, which I don't know which scares me more. Rounding a corner and smacking into one, or one letting me see it because it reminds me of the ambush tactics on Jurassic Park. The one you see is a distraction.
Yeah.
It's always the one you don't see.
Yeah, and something else too. I just thought about this, DA, when you're talking about that. Or what if it's one of the ones that, it lets you see it because it typically knows what the human reaction is to that thing is to beat feet, and it's just basically them saying, all right, this is our turf. You need to get the hell out of here. So they could be benevolent.
Or you could run into one that's just in a bad mood. And I would imagine that Bigfoot are like people. There's varying temperaments among different individuals, but 100%. Every Gugway encounter is just plain nasty. Kind of same thing with dogmen. You don't hear of dogmen coming into a camp and helping somebody or rescuing a guy trapped by a log. Everybody talks about Gugway and dogman as this thing was hunting me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see dogman or Gugway having too many positive encounters.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, they're not going to have any good social customs, that's for sure, towards us.
Yeah, they just see us as crunchy and good with mac sauce.
Yeah. Y'all come on over for supper, neighbor.
I had a false call. I didn't go. I'm
waiting for
him to call me. So
okay. Stephen Bishop says you merely adopted the ghillie suit. Yeah, I'll do the pain. I'll do it. Yeah.
There he is.
You merely adopted the darkness. I was born to it, molded by it. I got my Bane mask right up there.
Oh, Lord.
I should have grabbed it for that.
Oh.
What would this show be without some good movie references?
That's right. Cowboys 5 Ring says, DA, that looks like Kolchak the Night Stalker hat. It is. It's a replica of the Kolchak hat. This kind of become my signature. I wear this hat all the time.
Except when you wear your leather cowboy hat.
Yeah, that one's just right over here. I decided not to wear it tonight. It's a little warm in the house tonight, and that thing makes my head sweat.
I bet. Pure leather.
Meg says DA just did a super chat. Did you see it anywhere? I did not. That's one bad thing about this. It doesn't show super chats.
I didn't see it neither.
I didn't see it. I've got the YouTube channel. I've got YouTube pulled up on my screen, on my left screen, and the melon in front of me. I didn't see the super chat at all.
They said sometimes chats are delayed sometimes for a few minutes.
Okay, well, I just scrolled way back and I don't see it, so hopefully it'll show up in a minute. So if there's a super chat, thank you very much.
When I need to go somewhere real fast, I put my hat on backwards.
Reduces the drag.
That's
yeah, right. I used to be high speed, low drag. Now I'm moderate speed, some drag.
Dude, I'm just low. I'm low speed, high drag right now, and my butt's dragging my tracks out.
I'm 3-speed with a granny gear.
3-speed on the column.
Yeah, 3 on a tree.
That was my first vehicle. Was a '74 Ford F100 with a 3 in the tree.
Yeah,
so the next thing I wanted to talk about was tree knocks. Now, there's a lot of different theories out there. You ask 10 different people that are looking into the Bigfoot phenomenon, and they'll give you 10 different answers about what tree knocks stand for. Doc, what do you think tree knocks are for?
Oh, tree knocks. I was like, I thought you were talking about one word. I was like, tree knock. What the hell was that? Oh, you mean like smacking a tree? I mean, we've talked about this, and I've talked to some guys like up in the Pacific Northwest, up my classes that had it, that had those encounters. And from my understanding and talking to these guys and hearing other folks like y'all talk, my perception is that it's some sort of communication. It's a signal. Either it can be used for a couple of things, signaling to one another, or if it's not a signal, maybe the variation of the knocks, the intervals between them, whatever, it can also be like an alarm, like saying, hey, somebody's here, or if it were a good way, maybe it'd be, hey, dinner bell, something like that. So that's my understanding of them. That's what I think they are, is a communication tool to either communicate with one another or to ring an alarm or just tell people, hey, this is our territory you're on. You need to get the hell out of here.
Anthony? I'm sorry, Robbie, what about you?
I've heard a lot of like triangulating during their hunting, or coordinating rather. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, you're over here. All right, we know where it's at. Yeah, but also what Doc said too, that a communication type thing, or maybe even a territorial thing between different clans.
Yeah.
But I also heard somebody say one time they thought they did that with their mouth instead of actually picking up actual pieces of wood and smacking it against a tree. I don't know how I believe that or not, but they said they could make that sound with their mouths.
That's crazy. Well, I mean,
I can do it pretty loud.
Do it. Damn. And see, okay, and look at, okay, and that's okay. Let's talk anatomically here. Let's nerd out just for a second. Look at the size of the human mouth cavity. The oropharynx. The mouth and the throat. The oropharynx here much smaller in us than it is to one of those suckers. So, and also with the lung capacity, I mean, wouldn't it stand to reason that they could make a much louder sound?
You'd think, yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't you say, DA, that your neighbors, what was their names? Not your neighbors, but your friends that had that tree that was pushed over?
The McGee's.
Yeah, the McGee's
They've got more activity going on out there. Okay. I've got to get with them.
Well, didn't they say they did some tree knocks one day? She came out there and said, hey, do some tree knocks and see what happens.
Yeah.
And they got a response back.
They've got another tree been broke off at 6 feet off the ground out there, and they've caught more video. I haven't had a chance to get it from them, and I need to get up there. Doc, you went all quiet. We can't hear you.
How about now?
Now we hear you.
Yeah, I hadn't touched anything. That's weird.
This thing's kind of acting a little squirrely.
Hey, there's a Bigfoot in my room. Ain't me. I wear a size 11. So now you got
Ain't
the
me.
paranoid.
Size 11 on a little bitty dude. That's some big feet.
Got big hands too. Means I
Like
wear
a
big
weeble.
gloves and big shoes. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, Da, what's your thinking on tree knocks, brother?
I think they're used like hunting techniques. I think that they, can triangulate where their locations are, and move in on deer. Like multiple knocks might mean how many are there. It could also be that they're like trying to coordinate and triangulate in on something. That's why I don't do tree knocks. I mean, we don't know what it means. I could be ringing a dinner bell for all I know. That's why I don't generally do tree knocks.
Don't get me.
Right. Here I am. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, it could be something like kind of like when guys are running dogs on deer.
Mm-hmm.
Those dogs are barking not only to deer but to keep up with each other too. And it can be could you think it could be Robbie? This is for you too, man. Could you think it could be some kind of herding method or any kind of game you're trying to chase?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the theories that I've heard that I kind of think makes a lot of sense. Is like DA said, triangulation, kind of pushing, like talking about with dogs drive hunting. I think that's a very, very good possibility.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of theories out there, but those are the ones I've heard the most of is communication and alarms and like the DA said, hunting and everything like that. So I don't know.
It's the same thing. Same reason I don't do recordings of what they call call blasting, because we don't know what it's saying. I mean, do you have a plan if a Bigfoot comes running out of the trees looking for a date?
Yeah. I mean, what if you accidentally do a Bigfoot in distress call? And then the freaking proverbial furry cavalry comes in there, and there you are with your britches down around the ankles.
Or soon to be.
Sounds like a Steve Lilly episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, or Deliverance. So I mean, it could end badly. So I agree with that. I'm not gonna do any calls or tree knocks or anything like that. We'll just leave nature to be nature.
Good point.
Y'all in the audience, y'all chime in on what this.
Absolutely.
I've seen some folks commenting on here, talking about communication, things like that. What do y'all think? What do y'all think on the tree knock situation? What would be your theories? Okay, so Werewolf says, I think they're coordinating. I think that what they're driving is us. That's a good plausible theory. I mean, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's with this, man. Y'all answer.
Papa Craig C says, Nana keeps yelling at me for breaking branches for firewood by whacking them on a tree. Maybe she knows something you don't know.
Yeah, perhaps.
Trying to look and see if anybody had any comments. Mark Napier says, so you don't think I should practice with my shofar when I go camping? I don't know that I would do any kind of call unless you're prepared for calling something in. Camo Dad 72 says, no, it was Papa Craig C again. He says, hi, Camo Dad 72. I've heard them a few times in 54 years of running the woods. Northwoods Cryptid says, the only time I ever heard tree knocks out in the woods was when my dad hit a tree with a branch to wake up a raccoon that was sleeping up in the tree.
Yeah.
Corey Cole says, what's up, maniacs? Hey, Corey. I don't know why the super chat isn't working tonight.
I don't know.
Oh, well, got one of them popped up. It's just not showing me what it is. There it is. We had a super chat from Lanita. It did not show up in this. I had to go find it over on YouTube.
And Martin Napier thinks it's him basically kind of saying, hey, they're over here, scare them over this way type of thing.
Right.
And when he says, do not knock with 2 exclamation points. So that must mean we shouldn't knock.
Again, it's same thing. What we learned by talking to Ron Moorhead with the Sierra sounds. When they had that tape, that recording he made of the possible Bigfoot language, it was analyzed as having peaks and valleys both above and below what the human voice is capable of making. So, if we were to try to mimic a call like they do on certain television shows that I won't name, basically it's like listening to a symphony orchestra on your headphones, but only having one of them in.
Mm-hmm.
You're only going to hear part of the track, and that's why I don't recommend doing calls, because even recordings may not get those peaks and valleys. I got a $3 super chat from Pat Murphy. Pat, thank you so much. Stephen Bishop says maybe a warning to let someone know they're getting close to their territory. Very well could be.
Yeah.
I think that's just as likely as anything out there. I mean, again, this is all hit or miss, folks. Nobody knows for sure, and if anybody claims to be the definitive authority on that, they're selling you something. We don't know.
I mean, how do we call turkeys in? How do we call elk in? How do we call deer in?
Yeah.
By mimicking their calls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call these suckers in on me.
Right.
I'm just saying.
You don't know what kind of call you're making. I mean, I'm not real worried about what I'm saying in turkey when I use the reed. I'm not real worried about what I'm saying as long as it comes in. But
that's right.
When you're talking something that's, twice your height and 4 times your body weight.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm only 5'6". I'd be nothing but an amuse-bouche to those little suckers. Just a little aperitif snack.
Appetizer.
You get some big Bigfoot woman carrying you around in a baby Bjorn.
We play Master Blaster or something. I don't know, man.
Who runs Barter Town?
Who runs Barter Town? Seriously. I mean, that's the thing, man. I mean, I think when people are doing this, if they don't know what they're doing, if you're doing it out of ignorance, educate yourself. And because you could call down the thunder on yourself real quick. And that'd
Very
be a bad
much so. Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with my camera, DA, but I'm froze up. I can still hear y'all. I guess y'all can still hear me, but
yeah, you are froze up though.
Boy, you sure are pretty.
I'm standing really still.
We seem to have some connectile dysfunction tonight.
Yeah.
At least I didn't the face Anthony did earlier.
True. Camo Dad 72 says, DA, a turkey won't rip your arms off and beat you with them.
That's true. That's a really good point, man. That's for show.
Unless it's a really big turkey.
Meg says, go out and come back in, Robbie.
Yeah,
it's hit or miss whether he can get back in.
Meg, do you work IT? That sounds like turn it off and turn it back on again.
I'm scared if I come out, I won't be able to get back in. So,
well, if you look down by your name, it shows the strength of your signal. It's saying you've got a weak signal.
So Lanita says something. She says when she arrives at the farm, they start knocking and do short whistles. Huh.
Maybe a type of alert, letting people know that someone's. So that's a good observation. I mean, again, we don't know for sure, but I would take that observation as a direct field evidence that whenever she arrives on scene, they start using the knocks as an alert. So that could be a good behavior indicator, or it could have multiple uses. I mean, it could be as versatile as language, and we just don't speak that language.
Okay. And then this other guy, that's a good point, man. And this, who was it? Gravity Cheeseburger, love that name, says, I've heard it said that each wood knock represents one human, so Sasquatch knows how many people they have to deal with. I mean, they're intelligent beings, so why wouldn't it?
Looks like my son Noah's in the chat. Noah, if you're bored, you can jump in. I'll send you a link. Just let me know, and I'll send you a link. Let's see. Gravity Cheese. You already read that. Just here and there, 66. Ask Meg, does Super Chat or PayPal give them more money? Just not trying to, I'm not rattling the can or anything. This is just explanation. YouTube takes about 40% of anything that gets donated. PayPal takes about 2%. So yeah, so anything that's done through Super Chat or joining the channel, or just those little what is it? The dollar sign chat, what they call the tip jar on YouTube, they take about 40%.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see here. Somebody asking, this Nicholas Shaughnessy said, that's how my encounter was. 3 tree knocks all around us, 3 rocks missing from our rock ring, and 3 people. I guess I'm assuming 3 people in their camp.
So that's a pretty clear indicator that they're using that at least for, we lost Robbie. We're using that at least for as a warning system when people are in the area.
Yeah.
Cowboys 5 Ring says Patty on the Patterson Gimlin film looked like she didn't play with Knox, maybe knock you out for waking her up.
That's the truth.
Northwood says do not use steel boots to reboot the system. Okay, Noah, I will send you the link. It'll be in your Facebook Messenger. So let me grab the link.
This is a good one from K Talk. She said, true story. My son was a high school pitcher, practiced in the backyard. Bam, bam, bam against a backstop. One day he ran in afraid because he was hearing loud whistles in the wood line. Interesting.
Really? That is pretty interesting.
That's very interesting. So signaling,
Yeah. Right there, we've got multiple uses of the tree knocks. So see, this is why I like doing stuff like this, because we've got people that are giving their own personal firsthand accounts in the chat. We're all up here giving our own personal accounts up here and our theories of what we think it is. By people chiming in and sharing this information, we can begin to understand the behaviors and learn to adapt to that.
Yeah.
So if they're using that as a signaling technique or using it as a warning system, these are things little details that people sometimes leave out of reports. So Absolutely. if you're going to send in a report to one of the organizations, or you want to send a report to us, we would love to have it. You can send it to us at daroberts@daroberts.net, and we would love to have your account. But don't forget to put little details like that in, because things like that make all the difference. It's the little details that are going to help us figure this out.
Yeah, the devil's in the details, and we know from other reports and people saying they found tools, things like that these are sentient beings, and even if they're quote unquote primitive, they still have to have some sort of primitive communication method.
Did you see this, Doc? K Talk says, true story. My son was a high school pitcher, practiced in the backyard, bam, bam against a backstop. One day he ran in afraid because he was hearing loud whistles in the wood line.
That's what I was just saying. I was just talking about that one. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, obviously communication, they're sophisticated enough to know how to communicate with each other. I mean, any creature does, Lene
says men whistle because we're so dang good looking. Absolutely.
That's a fact. True story.
I whistle at my wife all the time and she just rolls her eyes.
Oh, David Bay had a question. Doc, quick spear question on the spear kit. Do you store the cat in the plastic? No. Take it out, put it in that little elastic sleeve, and then put it in the tourniquet garage, or the little container sleeve, the kit sleeve that everything comes in, and that way you're not fiddling around with plastic with bloody hands while you're shaking like a dog crap in a peach pit. That would be a bad thing. So take it out of the plastic. Good question.
Just here and there, 66 is at DA. Check your PayPal. Thank you, man. I just got that. Thank you so much. You are awesome, my friend. Now, a lot of researchers I've seen, documentaries on TV where they will go out and they'll smack. I even bought one of those little short, like really thick bats just to have. I've never done tree knocks, but I think I might actually give it a shot. But again, you got to be careful because you don't know what you might call in or what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, to me, that's just playing with fire, and you might get results that are absolutely unintended and also unintended consequences as a result of.
K-Talk says, happened for a week. Balls were returned to his mound from the field. We never told anyone this story. I heard the whistles, then gone. That's all. That's wild. I think definitely those hard balls hitting up against something, a backstop drew something in. Willamette Valley Cryptid says 2 knocks means friend if loud was warning a friend of danger. I heard one researcher went out and he decided he was going to just do a rapid fire knock, and he went did 10 in a row, like back, 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 and got an angry response and got chased out.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know what you're saying. I mean, I don't know if one knock has a significance, 2 knocks is different, 3 knocks a different one entirely, because usually most researchers report hearing them in 3s, which to me that seems significant. But what if each knock has its own significance, or the multiple rapid knock was an aggressive response?
Yeah, the intervals within. I mean, he might have been calling that Bigfoot's mama something, a bad name, you know what I mean? And that's not gonna get a good response anytime. And she said, K-Talk said this happened in Central Illinois.
We've lost Robbie, apparently.
Dag nabbit.
Damn it, Bobby. Or damn it, Robbie.
Damn it, Robbie.
He said, just sent him a message. John Doe says knocks will probably have entirely different meanings depending on the group in question. Good point. Corey Cole says, I've got a 3,000 square foot greenhouse and I was working at night when the days were too hot. Something kept throwing pebbles on top. I ignored it and kept racking until something touched my leg. Woo. Did you see what touched your leg?
Woo.
That's freaking cool. That's a great story, dude. Willamette says 10 power knocks means I have 9 with me and we are here to fight. That would be pretty horrifying. That may be why he got an aggressive response.
Imagine West Side Story with Bigfoot.
Less dancing and more arm removing.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? They might dance afterwards, swinging your bloody arm around.
Exactly. Holy crap, man.
Camo Dad 72 says, like any place else, I try not to draw attention. Bigfoot can do his thing and I'll do mine.
100%, brother. I 100% agree with that. The woods were theirs long before I was here.
And probably long after we're gone.
They can keep them. That's for sure.
Well, and I think it comes down to respect. I think if you go in the woods looking for trouble, you're going to find it.
Absolutely.
But if you go out there, you just to enjoy nature and no intent to do any harm, I think they'll probably leave you in peace.
Yeah.
Unless you run into a gunway or a dog win, then all bets are off.
Yeah, in which case you're screwed, basically.
Yeah, either way. But even when I was out deer hunting, if I went out there angry, I wouldn't see anything. And I don't know if this is, I'm not saying this is anything that the deer picked up on.
Twitch.tv/Jorgammon joined.
Hey, Noah.
Hey,
There's Noah.
I thought you were streaming tonight, buddy.
No. I'm taking a night off.
Oh, okay.
Particularly after the 12.5-hour stream I did last night.
I like Little Patty's. They do the monster mash. LOL. That was a good one.
Doc, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing, Noah?
Oh, can't complain too much. Doesn't do me much good if I do, right?
Yeah, and people won't listen to it no how. That's the way I look at it.
That's a fact.
Good, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a fan of seeing these shows where, they do all that kind of stuff. I mean, because one of these days, because what they're doing is they're perpetuating that to the people who don't know any better, and ignorance is not an excuse. I mean, if you're out there doing it, somebody one of these days could get hurt.
Yeah,
and I think it's
you
incumbent
got the missing 411 cases. I think it's happened.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's incumbent on us to tell people, look, be safe. Like you said, the big word is respect. Be respectful, and I think that that goes a long way, not just in our world, but in their world too. Especially if they're tribal, because you look at any tribe.
Robbie joined.
What is a big thing? Respect.
That is a fact.
There's Robbie.
There's Robbie. I'm gonna move Pitbull down to the bottom because he's gone at the moment.
I'll be right back.
Hey, you're not frozen,
black
Robbie.
screen.
Hey.
Willamette.
Hey, I'm moving again.
Yeah, you're moving again. Holy crap! Well, while you were out,
I think
we
it's
were
my
still
computer,
talking about
DA. I
tree
think it
knots.
kind of froze up on me.
Mine's
Because when
been doing that.
when I opened Google up to go back to or to go to that link you just sent me, it said Chrome was not shut down properly. Do you want to restore? So I think it was my computer, not the.
Stephen Bishop says, Robbie, did you put more gas in it? Ain't got no gas in it.
Ain't got no gas in it. I had to take my headphones off because I was watching on my phone before I hopped in. So I had to take my headphones off. The last thing I knew, you guys were talking about tree knocking. That's
And well, we were still kind of talking about that.
I don't have anything between my last comment and now.
Yeah, we were still talking about that. We hadn't moved on yet. What do you think, Noah? What do you think of tree knocking?
I think there's a lot of different factors that could make tree knocking show up. I mean, like, I'm not dismissing that there could be, a species of primate or even an offshoot of Homo sapiens or Homo erectus out there that are communicating with each other by knocking on trees. But you also have to keep in mind that, like, humans, as well as basically every other primate, have voice boxes. They have vocal cords. So if they're communicating with each other, odds are they're going to communicate with each other verbally or through grunts or that sort of thing.
That's when they're close, though.
Well, yeah, but that's what I was about to get at is far distances, they might do that to, warn others. However, you also got to keep in mind how much stuff there is in the woods. Like, it could be a woodpecker. It could be a deer hitting a tree to try to get gunk off of its antlers. There's a lot of different factors.
A scrape, not an impact, though.
Well, yeah, but what I'm getting at is there's a lot of different factors out there that could be making these noises, and I'm not saying that these noises don't exist. You know what I mean? My whole point is just that I don't know if you could consider knocking concrete evidence, but if there was something that meshed all of it together, you know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, yeah, this adds to the pile, It's like if you catch like a Bigfoot out in the woods, right? And you see it hitting a tree with a piece of wood, right? You're like, okay, the tree knocking's coming from this guy, right? But if you just hear it, you don't see a Bigfoot. That's not evidence that there's a Bigfoot out there. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say that it's definitive until you have more definitive proof, and then that just kind of adds in.
Well, I don't know of any encounter stories where people have literally seen them knocking on trees.
Right? Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like nobody's ever really seen that happen, so it's one of those things where it's kind of like.
However, the noises the tree knocks have been reported in correlation with a sighting.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like you can use it to be like, hey, there might be something here, but like it's kind of like a he said she said kind of deal,
Yeah. Northwood says communicating through grunts, sort of like Tim Allen. I can just see Bigfoot out there. Oh.
I mean, you gotta keep in mind how many animals there are that do communicate through grunts and just various different like chuffs and whatnot. Like
I remember when I was a much younger man camping with a bunch of buddies of mine in Colorado, and they were convinced we were about to be killed by Bigfoot. And they're like, "Oh my God, it's right coming right at us!" I'm like, "Guys, calm down. That is an elk bugle." Like, what the hell? We've never heard anything like that. I'm like, it's a freaking elk. I'm telling you. Oh, we lost Robbie again.
Losing everybody.
Just me and you now.
Surprise, it's just you, and then I bail.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Stephen Bishop says, "Dang, Melon needs some blinker fluid or something." Yeah, I think Doc stepped out just to go to relieve himself or to get some more something else to drink, and Anthony's running to get Uncle John. But
I think
I don't know what happened to him.
I think Melon needs to stop running the headlights so much, you know?
Yeah.
Killed the battery.
Papa Craig C says, "Yes, Nana and I saw a Sasquatch standing by camp, walked off, and a couple of knocks came from that direction a few minutes later." I'd say that's a pretty good correlation.
Right, yeah. But that's what I'm saying is like if you see one of them and then, you know, you hear the knocks, right? It's like, okay, that's a little more substantial than like you just hear knocks off in the woods and you're like, okay, there's a Bigfoot here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Then you're just going to be paranoid.
Lene says, "Do you think that tree shaking and knocking are for similar reasons?" I think the knocking is probably more location and or communication, but I think tree shaking is a sign of aggression. I think when they're shaking a tree, they're warning you to back the hell out of that area. Robbie, you encountered that, didn't you?
Yes. Well, Johnny did, but we talked about that. We thought that was probably an act of either aggression or like a dominance alpha type situation, because it was definitely I think a get out of this area situation.
And that's what I think happens with the tree knocking. Not tree knocking, the tree shaking. I think that is a display, much like gorillas beating on their chest. Gorillas have been known to shake trees. So I think that's probably
and breaking trees down, things like that. You know, all that's active aggression. I've seen chimps do that too, and plenty of videos.
Yeah,
grabbing the trees and breaking them down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I try not to mess with any sort of primate. I know those things can rip my arms off. I'm okay.
Yeah, even a chimp is like 10 times stronger than a human. Here's a question. I'm going to toss this one right at you, Robbie, because you're the tracker. You would be my go-to guy with tracking questions. What do you think broken tree branches mean?
Well, I mean, honestly, it depends on where it's. If it's in like within walking height, I would say it's probably, just a normal bump it up against something. But if it's like up higher, I think it's either like a territorial marker or, I think it was, I won't say Todd Sanders who said this, and I kind of agree with it, is, okay, you don't go no further than this. This is, from here on is my territory. You can hang out in this area right here, but don't go past this.
Yeah. William Nighthawk from Nighthawk High Strangers podcast says tree knocking is made with their mouths and not actually hitting a tree unless they're pissed. We've talked about that. We talked about that just a little bit ago. As I can pop my tongue and make a really loud noise. I would imagine a primate, 3 times my size would make a much louder noise. David Bice says, "What about tree structures?" We're heading in that direction. That's where I was going from the branches. But I know from when I was in Boy Scouts, they used to tell us if you're going to go hiking in the woods and you're going off trails, snap tree branches to find your way back.
Yeah, making a blaze trail.
So I wonder if it's something similar. But then again, they're born to that environment. Would they really need it? Unless it was to leave a direction for someone else for another one of the clan to follow.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the more reasonable way of looking at that would be that they're leaving a trail for other ones to know where they've gone, because like, I mean, you gotta keep in mind, like, even native to South America, native to North America, like, no matter what, like, we're talking people who have trained themselves to be trackers, who have trained themselves to be in the woods, And so, like, I sincerely doubt that breaking tree branches was their only method of finding their way back out of the woods because, I mean, we've known how to navigate from stars for several hundred, even 1,000 years. So I
maybe
mean,
even longer than that if you believe the stories of the Egyptians making it to South America.
Yeah.
Camo Dad 72 says, funny story. I was out mowing the backfield and had a rock about the size of a golf ball come zinging out of nowhere, skip off the hood of my mower. It hit me in the chest. No idea. That's not the first time I've heard that. There was one guy who was was brush hogging on a tractor, and I can't remember where this was. I want to say it was somewhere in North or South Carolina, and he was mowing a brush row along the side of his driveway right near the woods. And he said a hand came out and almost grabbed him. Apparently they do not like loud noise.
I've actually a few times being out near the woods, I've had rocks thrown at me before, but I don't know if it's necessarily like a Bigfoot thing. Because I mean, we know there are plenty of species of birds that will pick up rocks and use them as tools. I mean, ravens will pick up
but it takes hands to throw one.
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is they could drop one on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like if one.
Well, I've had rocks come zinging out of the woods.
I've had that happen too, which is the more confusing part. However, my point here is just that like in some cases you also have to like take into account the trajectory of the rock. So if it's like coming at you from above, odds are it's a bird or a squirrel or something just dropping it or moving it out of the way. Versus if it comes zinging out of the woods at you, odds are something hurked that at you.
Yeah, I've been hit in the head by acorns, and that was just something dropping out of a tree, either naturally or squirrel bombardiers. But it's tougher to explain rocks zipping past you.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hit in the chest with them. I've been hit in the legs with them before.
I was out turkey hunting up in Pulaski County one time. This would have been about 87. And had a rock zip past me. And if that had been a person, that's a suicidal way to go, throwing rocks at a dude with a loaded 12 gauge.
I've like when me and the guys go out hiking, like there's been a few times where we've been like pelted by rocks before and we don't know where the hell they came from.
Yeah. Good night, Pat. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night, Pat.
Not bad.
John Doe says, I don't want to meet the squirrel big enough to toss the boulder.
Well, and that's what I was about to get at. Lance told me a story from a buddy of his, and I think I might have told it to you, DA. I don't know if you heard it or not, Doc. They were up fishing somewhere up somewhere close to North Carolina, South Carolina border. I don't know exactly where, but they're out there fishing. It's like dusk, almost dark, and kept hearing splashes. And the splashes kept getting closer, and the closer they got, he could see that these splashes were rocks the size of basketballs. Because at first they thought it was kids messing with them, and
be a hell of a kid tossing rock the size of a basketball.
Exactly, that's what he said. He said, I didn't want to hang around to meet the kid that was throwing rocks the size of basketballs from across the. Because this wasn't like it was no little creek. This is like a river that they were fishing in. It's like probably 25, 30 feet wide. Yeah. And these rocks were coming almost all the way across the river at them, and they were just like, "Oh, okay, it's time to pack up and beat feet."
I heard a similar story from fishermen down on Table Rock Lake, near where the James River empties into Table Rock. Said that they were using the trolling motor, and they kind of crawled back into this little slough to see if they could get some catfish, and a couple of rocks about the size of, like you described, like the size of a freaking basketball, big rocks. Came out and nearly hit their boat, and they fired up the engine and got the hell out of there because they didn't want to stick around and find out what could throw something that big. No sighting, just guys saying that something threw rocks at them in a slough.
Brief little side thing there. I wonder if we went back down to Blunk Road.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we would. That was Blunk Road that the park is at, right?
No. Blunk Road is where we went down and filmed that video. You were filming me down there along the riverbank. Mm-hmm. You're thinking of Joe Bald. That's
Joe Bald.
As the water flows, that's only a few miles, but to actually get there by road is a lot longer because you got to go away around the lake.
I wonder if at either one of those places we might run into something like that.
I wouldn't mind going back down and trying to do like a recordings, set up a stationary camera down at Joe Bald.
Yeah,
I still want to get into Combs Ferry, but I don't have a vehicle capable of crossing over the barrier they made.
Yeah, I wonder if at any of those areas down there we might run into something throwing rocks at us, or even tree knocks, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, like every time we've been down there after dark, I mean, even during the day, I get like a super creepy feeling like we're being watched while we're in there.
Yeah, that whole area is really creepy.
That whole area is weird.
I'm still trying to get the guy you and I met that had the Dogman encounter down that way. Try to get him on the show. Says he can't do Saturdays. We're trying to find a Wednesday that'll work.
Okay.
I need to email him tonight if I don't forget. Trying to think there's anything else. Oh, yeah, I was going to change the banner. If you guys have had any encounter stories you would like to share with us or have read on the air, you can send them to me at daroberts@daroberts.net, and we would love to hear your stories. We love doing those shows with encounter stories, and I'm going to be compiling more of those for the coming shows. But I don't want to just overdo that and do nothing but encounter stories, but we are going to be getting back to that because those seem to be really popular shows.
Everybody just likes me reading those long War and Peace novels.
That's what it is. So what do you guys think about tree structures? Not necessarily limb breaks, but tree structures.
That
I don't know.
I think that's something that a lot of people until here recently have probably seen and didn't really I know I have, because after I watched that Les Stroud video where he went back up there and they really had that in-depth show on that. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Noah. That.
Oh no, I was responding to the message there. I just didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, Little Patty asked if he got his computer back up again.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to give him a thumbs up,
I thought you.
and now I've completely sidelined everything.
We're drifting again. But I think it was either the Radon Springs or the New Egg. I can't remember which one it was. But he went up there and they went really in depth into a bunch of tree structures up there where Todd's made all those sightings and everything. And it's one of those things, until we started seeing people actually put those on videos, I think a lot more people saw them and just didn't know what they were seeing. People think, oh, it's snow load, or, it's weather or something. I don't think anything. It's just like that picture you showed us a couple of shows ago, DA. That's not weather that caused that break. Hey, the Jarhead's back.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Who's that? Oh, that's Noah.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
What are you doing, man?
Hanging out, sipping a Godfather and eating some beef jerky while we talk.
Gin and juice. That's what Snoop Dogg always says.
No. This is Scotch and amaretto.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sophisticated palate we have.
Hey, man. If I wanted gin and juice, I would have to go get the gin from the counter and go get juice from the other room. I'm too lazy for that.
I'm drinking my coffee, as Robbie would say. Robbie, how would you call this? What would you call this?
Irish coffee?
No. How do you mimic me? You make fun of my accent. How do you do it, Robbie?
Black with nothing else in it?
No, you go coffee.
Coffee talk.
Coffee talk. This is Coffee Talk with Anthony and DA and
talk
Bob
amongst yourselves.
That's it.
Well, we got sideline there.
DA, can you post your email and regular mail address to Mary Stoughton? She wants to send her story in the mail.
Oh, absolutely. Let me switch over to that. If you guys want to send us anything via the mail, you can send it here to P.O. Box 4614, Springfield, Missouri, 65808-4614.
How am I going to send you that upper with that? I can't send it to a P.O. box.
Oh, you've got my actual address, dude.
The post office is like, hey, yo, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
Yeah, we can accept this. And your P.O. box is now canceled.
It goes immediately from a nice little postage from friend to friend to then a felony.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story after the show. I can't tell you now what I got in the mail. This was years ago, and I couldn't believe I received it. It was a box.
I've got a couple of buddies who got sent gifts through the mail, and it was alcohol. They're like, "Whoa!"
I got something a little bit potent than alcohol sent to me by accident. I don't know who sent it. Yeah.
Anthony, we don't need to know about your bondage mask.
No, my what?
Your bondage mask.
No, not that. No.
Did it zip over the mouth?
He's like, "Not that. I picked that up in store."
No, I got that over at X. Yeah, I got that down the road. I don't have to order that.
Got his whole gimp suit down the street from his house.
Yeah. Where's the gimp? The gimp's locked up.
Well, wake him up. And we derailed again. I think different types of tree structures, like the TP structures, the X formations, there's a lot of different structures you can find. There's some of them that are just like weirdly balanced trees. I can't 100% say that, nobody's seen Bigfoot make one. But
I did.
You did?
Yeah. On
really?
TV. No, on TV.
Oh, okay.
You just go out in the woods and you see Bigfoot just out there. He's got a full carpenter belt on. He's like sitting there, just kind of.
That's not 16 on center. What are you doing, man?
Anthony's a contractor.
Yeah.
He's a general contractor. Bigfoot had to.
You see Bigfoot grabbing a squirrel by the head and the tail and going, "Eh! It's 17 squirrels long."
If I saw that, I'd be like, beef jerky.
Yeah. You want some?
Oh, that's right. He get that sent to you. I forgot.
Oh, the tree formations are the hard one to really say. I mean, could it be somebody just out there messing with you? Yeah. Even the TP formations could just be somebody messing around.
I've seen toilet paper forming up around places. It would probably be man-made.
Well, I've seen some of the formations that, to me, just look like a makeshift hunter's blind. Some of these guys that do the primitive camping, the guys that do inland, deep wilderness treks, they will build primitive shelters and leave them behind, and sometimes even primitive hunting blinds. So could it be a human? Yeah, it definitely required something with hands. So it's really hard to say what any of these structures mean without knowing exactly what the source was, what really made it. No, Meg, I did not see Nighthawks. Let me scroll back and see if I can find it. William Nighthawk is a Lakota shaman, so I will take his word over a lot of folks. There it is. Okay. He says, TP structures represent lodge and family. Dome structure is sleeping cover for young. X structure is a marker for alpha male territory and more. Well, I would take that as face value then, definitely. Thank you, William. I appreciate that. Sorry, I had to scroll back a bit to find that. Willamette Valley Cryptid says, I found a balance branch that had been used to pull up blackberry bushes for cover. I've heard several people. In fact, the guy from Mountain Beast Mysteries that has been on our show before. What is his name? Chernopesky. Was it Jason? Jason Chernopesky? Something like that. It was something with a J. From Mountain Beast Mysteries. He filmed one that was balanced, like perfectly balanced, and it was balanced at like 8 feet off the ground, and the tree was like yay big around and like 20 feet long. So I don't know whether a person put that up there. Could a couple of guys done it?
That's something you got to look at is the size and complexity of it and things like that. I mean, obviously trees that big around, there's not one person that's gone in there and messed around with that.
Yeah, it's a cinch me and Doc didn't do it because Doc and I have a class action lawsuit against the federal government for building the ground too close to our ass.
Facts. I agree with that. And Mark Napier has a good point too, man. He said, I think a lot of the structures are made to slow deer when they're trying to ambush them, kind of like
That's
a
a good
catch
point.
net.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Kind of like those primitive funnel traps you can make in rivers to catch fish. How it just kind of funnels them into a spot where you can gig them pretty easily. Yeah, these primitive traps work. I don't think I've got my little book handy, but folks, if you don't have a copy of the SAS Survival Guide, I suggest you get one and throw it in your pack. They make a pocket-sized one that's about 3 inches by 3 inches. That book will save your life in a wilderness situation if you're stuck. There is so much in there, from building shelters to what plants are medicinal, what are poison, to how to build snares. Get a copy of that book and throw it in your pack. I've got one. Unfortunately, it's not handy where I can grab it and show it to you, but you can get them on Amazon. It's called the SAS Survival Guide. They just released an updated version of it. One of the best books I have in my library. I have the full-size copy and the pocket copy. Papa Craig C says, sign me up for that class action lawsuit. They make the ground too hard, too.
True.
So, I think we'll take William Nighthawk's word on what the structures mean, and to me that makes perfect sense anyway. But but don't think every time you find two sticks stuck together in the woods that it was Bigfoot. Some of them fall naturally. Some of them are just ground clutter. Some of them could have been done by people just being goobers. Mark Napier says the SAS guide to tracking is good too. Yes, it is. But it's not all structures are. Some of them can be deadfall from storms that fell into another tree. So there are natural explanations for some of these, but some of them can't be easily explained. Meg says, Robbie and police flags, what does green mean?
Green flag means, where'd you get that flag?
Yeah, I don't see green. I see blue back there, but okay.
It's red flags. Red flags, Meg. You know that. Red flags.
Red is for firemen. The blue line is for police, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the green flag is, if you see a flag with a green stripe in it, like that flag back there, where it's blue, it's for military.
Is it? No, I didn't know that.
Green is military. Gray is corrections. There's a whole bunch of different colors, but
red's fire, blue's law enforcement, yellow is communications, or gold, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I've got a chart somewhere, but I don't remember where it was at. I think that pretty much effectively covers tree structures. What I'd like to jump in next, I think, is kind of wide open. It's a lot of room for people to comment on this and jump in, and that would be when not only the tracking, the throwing in the tracking that Robbie did, but more like not just the structures, but the weird elements that you find in the woods, like uprooted trees that are shoved back in the ground. What do you guys think?
That's nuts. Well, what's his name? Found those in Alaska. Fred. Mm-hmm. Fred found those in Alaska.
They've been found in the Mark Twain here in Missouri.
That's nuts. Hey, check your private chat. That's probably a pissed off Bigfoot. I don't know.
Probably.
Meg wanted to know what the police flag was. That's it behind me, Meg.
Anthony, give him the same link you used. It'll work for you.
He can't get in.
Oh, well, okay. Let me grab one.
That's what I meant. I was like, yeah, he can't. It says booting. It's booting and booting and booting and booting. It's like, he's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Doc had a hard time. Everybody did.
I'm just an idiot, though. So, yeah, that doesn't say a whole lot.
Well, I'm just trying to get used to the set. I was so used to StreamYard, the setup.
I know.
It was so easy, when I did the comments and shot them over and did this and did that. And
you'll get used to this one, too.
I know. We're not all technical like Noah is.
What?
I may have to have Noah help explain it to me. So
no, I was off on a different planet there. I was just sitting here just minding my own business there for a second. What was going on?
No, I said you're more
Corey Cole says, "Have you guys ever heard the hunter tell the story of watching a Sasquatch knocking on trees with its ear up against it, then knocking the tree over and pulling a raccoon out of a hollowed out tree?" I have heard that story.
I never did. Oh.
It's kind of interesting. I've heard the same thing with possums, because sometimes they'll go down and hide in a hollowed out tree and make a den down in there. But it'd be a smart hunting technique if they find something hollow and could push it right over. Papa Craig C says giant upside down trees on Klawok Mountain, Prince of Wales Island, southeast Alaska. They've been reported quite all over the place.
How did you send? There he is. There's the man, the myth, the legend. He's got his headphones. There he is. Can you hear us? Hello? John?
Camo Dad 72 says, "I've seen pictures of trees roots up, but never in person. Wouldn't have known that was a thing if I didn't hear people talk about it." John, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I got you now. Okay.
Alrighty. I'm catching just a little bit of an echo. Is anybody else hearing that?
Backfeed. Yeah, backfeed on there. Do you have your YouTube channel on?
Who?
I guess he's not, or whatever. Hey, do you have your YouTube channel on, Unc, or no?
I can see everybody.
No, do you have the YouTube channel on? Unc.
Anthony, you might have to go check.
Hello, 10-4, Unc. John, come in.
Bueller?
John.
Bueller.
Bueller. He can't hear me. John, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Well, I'm asking you if your YouTube channel is on.
I can hear you.
Jesus, Mary Christ Almighty.
Oh, Doc's broke again.
Who's on first?
What's on second?
I don't know who's on third.
Hey, is your YouTube channel on?
What?
Is your YouTube channel on?
What I just went to?
No. You have your YouTube channel open in the background.
Oh my
You
God.
have to get out of it.
When the guy who plays first base comes down to pick his checkup, what's the guy's name?
I don't know.
No, he's on third.
Is that better?
Lanita, I'm not ignoring you. I just saw what you said. No, it's not chocolate. It's mango jalapeno beef jerky.
All right,
It's
now
very,
I'm
very good.
back. No more backfeed.
Yeah, that got it.
I got your back feed.
Yeah, I know you did.
Oh, Lord.
my God.
Oh, man.
We're here every night, people, from 8 to 10, 8 to 11, 8 to 12. But anyway, I was asking you because if you're the backfeed on your YouTube, we were all hearing it. And you weren't answering me. See what I get? This is what I deal with. This is what I deal with. And you wonder why. It's like, why is Anthony always pissed off?
Hey, that's the way you are all the time.
No, I'm not. I'm a nice guy.
Bullshit. He comes out in the morning.
Who did that? Who's got the sound bar going?
That's not mine.
No,
That
Dad. Dad figured it out. I think Dad figured out the sound bar. Anyway. All right, we're talking about trees that are put in upside down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, man.
That's a sign to leave very quickly from the area.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a sign that there's something very strong in the area, and I am not going to be in that area anymore.
Yeah.
Eat him out.
Boulders getting hurled at me or trees being stuck in the ground upside down. It's time to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the
Or if-
time.
Or if the woods
Yeah.
get real
Pete.
quiet, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like a really good time to get out of here.
It's time to beat feet. Yep.
Well, it's like
It'll be
that.
time to make what we call a tactical retreat.
Yeah, that was that one time that who got the rock thrown at them in the boat? That one guy in Alaska had that boulder thrown at him
Mm-hmm.
from the
Fred.
bank.
Fred,
Was
yeah.
it Fred?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Fred.
Fred was talking about
He said if he hadn't moved back to step
Yeah.
back,
it would have hit him in the head.
Took
Yeah,
him
that's
out.
crazy. I mean, he said it was bigger than a bowling ball, but that was nuts.
Man. Screw that.
It probably would have killed him had he not moved.
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
And I can't imagine having a boulder thrown at me.
David Bice says check your weapons and unask the area. You are not wrong.
I agree. 100% concur with that statement, sir.
Make sure I
Hey,
got one in
firm.
the chamber and time to get the hell out of there.
We'll be doing an Australian.
That's going to leave a mark.
We'll be doing an Australian peel out of that area real quick.
Hell yeah.
well, it's not even that. What was that one video when they had that one on video throwing a tree at the logger? Remember that?
Yeah, through about a 20-foot long tree, like 50 yards.
Bro,
And you
Bigfoot
can
out here
see it.
doing the freaking caber toss?
Well, you could see it on video. You could see it on video. You can make it out. It's all hairy, and this thing picks it up and just lobs it at this guy.
Oh, he's like javelining it. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
It was on video,
Kind of like
and everybody.
Team Odin, right? And
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I wonder if we've heard that one before.
yeah,
That was it. They threw it out of a helicopter. Remember that?
Through several.
sounds familiar.
No, it's behaviors like that made me, write scenes like the one that happened in the beginning of Codename Wild Hunt Odin's Call.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Say again,
Yeah.
did you say you hit a tree?
David Bice said the French
That's
in
the old saying. The tree jumped right out and hit me.
Yeah, but it's the weird things that go on. The trees that are getting thrown, the rocks that are getting thrown. Even when Dave Hychek, when he was at that cabin in what was it? What was that?
Snow Grove Lake.
Snow Grove Lake. They had those rocks thrown at them. They were landing on the roof. They were the size of softballs. And one hit the side of the cabin. What's throwing that? There's no bears out there throwing rocks. So come on.
I've seen people do a lot of things, but throw rocks ain't one of them.
No, the only bears I know that throw balls are football.
Yeah,
But it's like me and Dave Hychek was telling the story. They even said it. They were standing outside, and he was with Dr. Meldrum, right? Wasn't he? And that rock came flying in and hit the top of the roof.
Oh, at Snellgrove? Snellgrove Lake?
Yeah, man. Yeah. They were both standing outside when it happened.
yeah, and John Doe has a good point about the tree being chunked at the loggers. He said, "Imagine being a Bigfoot and watching his loggers methodically and unstoppably destroy your entire world."
Right.
Yeah. That's enough to piss them off,
Well,
Yeah.
I know they've now put legislation in place that anytime loggers clear cut an area, they have to replant it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
still,
yeah.
it takes years for those trees to become useful.
Do you remember that one show that was on Discovery or History, the logging show that the guys would be out logging the trees?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a segment. I don't know if it was season 1 or 2. Somebody actually went through the video. I got to pull up the shot. There's a Bigfoot standing behind one of the loggers in the brush.
Really?
You could see it peeking out behind this pine tree, watching it. And he's standing there giving an interview.
Well, the guy from Kentucky Ballistics caught one behind his backstop.
Yeah, I showed, and I sent that to you.
Yeah,
I sent
that's a
that to
great
you.
video. I'll have to see if I can find it. I don't think we're going to get permission to share it because it's Kentucky Ballistics and they're a much bigger channel. But we could share the link and say that watch it. This,
And that's the weird thing. He didn't even cut to an outtake. He started shooting at the backdrop like 2 seconds later.
yeah, he had no idea he was back there.
Right. If somebody was back there playing a hoax on him or he set it up, that's
That's
pretty
a bad
dangerous.
day to do it.
Right. All right. And you could see this thing peek up around it, peek on the side. It was all hairy. And he actually caught it. Somebody caught it on video, on his video, and went back and told them.
Said, hey, something was peeking out from behind your backstop.
Right. And he's even admitted to it. He goes, I'm having a lot of weird stuff go on out here on my filing range. And as he's saying it, you can hear this something crashing through the woods that right next to him, and he panned over. You can't see anything, and you can just hear the limbs breaking as this thing's running. This is the second day. So,
Man.
I mean, if he's putting on a hoax, that's a pretty crazy hoax to put on.
Yeah.
And he was shooting, get this, he was shooting a 45-70 to test out.
That would be a bad day to be behind a backstop because that thing's
Right.
got a tremendous amount of punch.
I showed that,
Yep.
right, Unc? I showed you that video, right, Unc? Unc, I showed you that video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, yeah, everybody's catching these things. But even in that logging show, the guy was talking to I guess one of the camera guys like they did on Discovery, like they do on Gold Rush when they're asking them questions.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this thing about 50 yards behind them peek out behind a pine tree. And somebody caught it.
It's
went
amazing how many times they've accidentally been caught on camera.
Right. So I mean, who knows? Who knows, man? Like what Doc said, that thing was probably pissed off.
Yeah.
They're logging the woods, and like what William Nighthawk said that they're the protector of the woods out there. So who knows?
It's like that Joe Bald video we captured. We had no idea we caught something on camera until like a year and a half later.
Right. And that was and then Steve was on the tree pissing 5 minutes before that happened.
Yeah.
Ringing
the dinner bell apparently.
Right.
Man.
That's scary enough. And he realized that when he looked at the video, he was like, bro, I just pissed on that tree 5 minutes ago. And I was filming DA and that thing's peeking out right behind the tree.
Right.
That's crazy.
Kind of
Even
reminds
stuff
you
that
of
you
those
get.
Cardinals players. They're pretty rough. Yeah, clumsy.
Who?
The Cardinals players.
What about them?
Yeah, they're clumsy like a Bigfoot.
Oh, that's why we're leading the league in double plays.
Oh, yeah, don't get him started on the Yankees and that. Please don't. But Robbie, even your stuff, if you were videoing out there, I go through that video and check and see if you got anything peeking or picking up. That's how people are catching the things.
I'm gonna get her to put everything together, and I'm gonna send it to DA, let him go through everything.
Okay.
So we can.
Don't put any red circles on it.
Yeah, no, there won't be red circles. This will all be actual footage of things they found. And of course, I want to get some good close-up pictures of that hair sample too, so maybe we can enhance it.
Yeah, I'm gonna email High Check. I'll message him and tell him that Robbie's got some stuff, and we're gonna send it to him.
Here's a question I've been asked multiple times, and something I'm going to get Robbie's opinion on is evidence collection. If you find a hair sample in the woods, if you find, just anything. I mean, anything like scat samples. Robbie, what do you think what is the best method of evidence collection on things like that?
Well, obviously, number one, I always carry some nitrile gloves. I mean,
right.
Because even like Doc said, if you treat somebody out there with you, you don't want to get blood on your hands, so you need to have some nitrile gloves anyway.
Right.
Carry some, a good variety of sizes of Ziploc bags, because that's probably the best mode of transport.
Mm-hmm.
You can go get some of these little cheap tweezers and things like that you can get at Walmart or
those plastic.
They got plastic ones.
Just use that as a collection. Get your gloves on, open your bag up, take your tweezers, pick it up, put it in the bag, seal the bag up, carry you a Sharpie. We didn't have a Sharpie, but we got the bags that you can write. You can write on. And I mean, that's no different than some of the way we do evidence collection.
Yeah.
Write the date, time, and place. Yeah.
Right.
What it is.
We would put evidence tape across the closure of the bag and then write our initials and our radio number across the edge of the tape and onto the bag, so they could
as the person who sealed it.
That's right. Now I know when one thing they taught us is if you're collecting something that is moist, to not put it in plastic because it will. Yeah,
it'll sweat and even cause it. That's something too. If you
paper sandwich bags, those are great to carry. They're cheap.
Yeah,
you can buy 100 of them for $5.
Yeah, it won't allow it to sweat and degrade the sample or whatever it is. When we collect anything that's got blood on it, we have to put it in a paper bag anyway. So just you can go get those sandwich bags like DA just said. Pretty cheap. You can go to Dollar General or any of those places like that. They've got pretty much everything that I just described, even down to the nitrile gloves. I mean, they may not be the best in the world, but
They serve the purpose.
Well,
yeah,
you
exactly.
go to I don't know if you guys have a Harbor Freight up there. You guys have Harbor Freight up there? Harbor Freight, you can get a box of 100 gloves for like for $2.
And Harbor Freight actually has different thicknesses too. You can get you can get the 7 mil, the 9 mil, I think the 5 mil.
This comes as a shock to me. I didn't know that I could buy 9 mil from Harbor Freight.
Something else.
The ever elusive 10mm socket.
I'm gonna go in there and get hollow points from Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
Martin Napier brought out a good point. When you're putting your gloves on, don't grab them by the fingers. Get them by the cuffs and put them on like that, so you don't touch the cuffs, or so you don't touch the fingers, and then make sure they fit good, and make sure you don't touch your skin or anything like that. When you're taking them off, so you don't get any kind of crud on yourself.
Inside out.
Pinch them right here, roll them up into themselves, and now you've got a nice pair of gloves that doesn't have any crap on them to get on your skin either.
Keep a bag just for your trash. Don't leave that stuff out in the woods. Change your gloves between samples. You don't want to touch these samples with your bare hands because your DNA can contaminate the sample.
And if you got 2 separate samples,
we're going to contact Doug Highcheck. He's got the ability to analyze stuff like this. I don't. Some people have told me that they have gone to their local vet and had samples tested. I don't know if they'll do that for free. I don't know of any places that'll test samples for free. But I would find somebody with a much larger research group that has the ability to analyze these samples. And the first guy that comes to mind with me is Doug Highcheck, because Doug's kind of the man when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, he can do that. Actually, he can actually look at the hair right there when we send it to him. He's got that photographic microscope too. He can actually blow it up and get online with us and show us what he's got.
And don't make the mistake of, if you get a scat sample or what you believe to be a blood sample, don't freeze it. A lot of people will throw scat samples in their freezer. When you freeze something like that, it starts breaking down the DNA and it makes it harder to test.
It kills it.
The longer it's frozen, the worse it gets.
I'm texting him now.
Yeah, you freeze the scat sample in 6 months. When you pull it out to give it to somebody, you have like, yep, that's poop. That's all I can tell you about it.
That's about it. Yeah.
That is a poop sickle.
Right.
Yep.
Poop sickle.
That's a bowling bomb.
Crap sickle.
Yeah, that's not fudge.
But if you're collecting evidence, make sure you've got individual bags for each sample.
Right.
Before you collect it, put something next to it for scale and take pictures. Take pictures from multiple angles. Be that tracks, be that evidence, be that any kind of print or structure. Put something in the picture for scale, something of known size. I mean, you could take a lighter like Robbie did, or you could take a flashlight that you know exactly how long it is. Or if you've got a tape measure, that's a good thing to throw in your kit. They don't weigh much and they're really good. You can put it out, lock it, and put it right next to the print and have the exact tape measure reading. That would be ideal. I've got a little crime scene kit from when I was a cop that's got little rulers in it and little evidence markers. You could just put like mark your evidence pieces 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Just you write it on a piece of paper and lay it next to it as long as it's in the photo, and that way you can trace the history of the photos and which evidence was where it was collected. Keep good records of any evidence that you collect, and if you give it to somebody, make a record of that. One that's establishing chain of custody, and 2, later on, if they lose the sample, you can go, hey, this is who I gave it to, and go from there.
Says you got a sample of some scat.
Took a picture of some suspicious poop while out mushrooming this year.
Tell him to send it to you. You could look at it and see what it is. Oh, sure. If it looks like human scat, I mean, that's what basically that's what everybody's saying. It looks like human scat almost.
If it says those little fishing tape measures only about 3 feet, but can keep on a key ring.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, we're getting hit again. Somebody kill that.
John must be on one of those sites again.
John, stay off those sites. Big shout out and thank you to my admins.
I don't know, turn me on when Doc brought out them gloves.
Yeah.
Just
Get
it out.
He was about to get a prostate exam.
Oh, God.
Big shout out and thanks to my mods tonight. You guys are doing an awesome job catching those things. They have been really hitting us tonight.
How many did we get already?
Wanted to discuss. We are well after the 2-hour mark. The other thing I wanted to discuss before we wrap this show up, and this is just the basics. You know, we're only scratching the surface, and at some point I want to do a series of videos that are just videos of each specific item. What I wanted to talk about was casting. If you do find yourself lucky enough to find a print that's worthy of casting, now prints that have very little impression on the ground are going to be tough to cast. But if you find one of those perfect prints that's in soft soil or soil that was muddy when the print was put there and is now dried, and you've got that pristine track, there is a number of things you can do to preserve and maintain that track before casting. A lot of people say put hairspray on it. That's a good one to keep things set in place if it looks fragile. If you got any chance of dermal ridging in the track, I wouldn't do the following. But if there's dermal ridging, just use the hairspray. If there's not dermal ridging, I would take a piece of saran wrap and just lay it gently over the track and then pour your plaster of Paris mixture. Yeah. Once you pour the track, those little like bamboo skewers you can buy at the store for making kebabs on the grill, or even sticks you find in the area, but put something in there, pieces of wire to help strengthen that, because when that plaster of Paris dries and you go to lift it out, if it's not real thick, if you didn't pour it thick enough, it's probably going to break. So I would take little pieces of cardboard, maybe about 1 inch in diameter, cut a strip off and surround the track with it, kind of tap it down on the ground, even if you had to put sticks around it to hold it in place, and pour that cast. Be generous. Plaster of Paris is cheap. Pour that sucker a couple inches thick. That way your chances of it surviving and sticking around for a while are much better, especially if you think there's dermal ridging in the track. And another thing we want to get in that track is we hope we can get evidence of that mid-tarsal break. So plaster of Paris is cheap. Pour it thick. Put a piece of cardboard around it so you've got something to maintain it. Let it dry. If it says dry 4 hours, let that sucker dry every minute of 4 hours. There's different types of mixtures. I would mix the plaster of Paris just a little on the runny side, because if it comes out clumpy when it hits, it's going to smash that track. So you want that plaster of Paris just a little bit on the runny side so it gets into all those nooks and crannies. Put sticks or pieces of wire or whatever in to help strengthen it, and then leave it alone. Once it's good and dry, write on the back of the track the date and time you found and casted that track. That way it is on the track, and then treat it like any other piece of evidence. Put it in something that it's going to protect it. If you got to wrap it in an old T-shirt or put foam around it, make sure it's protected while transporting, because plaster of Paris tends to get brittle, and that's just the nature of casting. So if you use these tricks, if you're using plaster of Paris, it's really going to improve your castability. But again, just remember, and Robbie can tell you, finding that perfect pristine track's like winning the lottery in the woods.
That's true.
Yeah.
Check to see if he sent you that picture yet.
I have never found a track worth casting. I've found plenty of partials. Who's sending me a picture?
Papa. Where is it? Papa, if you got the picture, did you send it already? I thought you said I'll send it.
No, I don't have anything from him.
All right.
But Willamette says, hey, could you use a dog DNA testing kit for a dog man? More than likely. Veterinarians can test DNA samples of dogs and tell you what breed it is. They do that with kids that get bit. Again, I don't know what they would charge you, but if it's a dog man sample, it's probably going to come back as unknown canid, which is a good result to get. If you've got the documentation saying it was tested, it's canine, but we don't know what kind. That's a good piece of evidence.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, any data is good data.
Right. Corey Cole
Yeah.
says, guys, I was out arrowhead hunting with a good friend of mine, and he found 2 dead coyotes buried side by side, lying on their backs. They were buried?
Huh.
That's kind of interesting.
That
It
Papa said he just sent it to you.
Okay, let me check my email.
Yeah, because if it's bear scat, you'll know right off the bat if it's bear scat. You could tell the difference. That's
Okay,
it.
I am going to attempt to show that on here. I have not really mastered the way this works. That should be an overlay. Let's see if this works. Okay. Okay. Warning, scatological picture inbound.
Oh, let's see. That ain't bear
That's a
scat.
predator's. That's something of a whatever that is. It's a predator. You can see
Yeah.
hair in it.
Yep.
That could be
That-
bear scat. That could very well be bear scat. You can see
Yeah,
hair
it
in
kind
the
of looks
fibers.
like bear scat. But
Yeah, I would think that's bear scat.
That's a lot of hair in there.
Now, next to that knife, that's great for perspective. That's a good sized pile. Where did you find this at? What state? Kind of territory is what I'm meaning. From the amount of hair in it, and it looks like. Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of hair in it and some small
That's a
pieces.
lot of hair.
Near the right-hand side, looks like it might be a small bone.
Yeah, I see that sticking out. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever this is, it's predator. It's a predator. It's predator scat. No,
I've
no.
never seen bear scat look like that though.
Could it be cryptid? Maybe. It's again, if you wanted to, you just took a picture of it, you didn't collect it. That's the kind of thing that could be
Oregon. They
tested.
said Northeast Oregon and where did I just add it?
Walla Mountains.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, considering the amount of Bigfoot activity in that area, I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't say that it's not. But if I found that, I would probably first think bear. But it's definitely predator scat. Anthony, I'm sorry, Robbie. What about you crowding in there?
Honestly, I've never seen bear scat look that color before.
Me
Yeah.
either.
Most of
It's
the
always
bear
black.
scat I've seen is like a darker,
Yeah,
like
black.
a black to a brownish color. That's a different color than
Well, consider
all the bear scat I've seen too, Robbie, usually has a lot of berries or some other
Yes.
stuff, other
Seeds,
good
a
mix.
lot of seeds
because
in it.
bears are herbivore or omnivores. So
this is definitely a meat-eating predator.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot of hair. I've
Yeah,
never
like I
seen
said, if
mountain
it's a
lion
small
scat.
bone in it. That's not mountain lion scat. That is no way mountain lion
no,
scat.
no,
Not
no,
look like that at all.
Mm-mm.
I mean I'm not saying it's not bear,
Yeah,
but
I'm not
it's-
either.
it's definitely a different color than any bear scat I've ever seen
Did you
before.
find any tracks? Were there any tracks around the scat that you noticed? Any bear tracks or anything like that?
I mean, and how fresh was it? Was it like?
It looks pretty fresh.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
it
does.
looked pretty fresh. It doesn't like
Yeah,
it's
he
drying
just
out.
commented. He said all the rest of the bear scat had
Yep.
seeds in it.
hmm
Yep.
It was okay.
This is definitely a big predator.
Yeah, that's
I can
something-
say that with 100% certainty because of the hair and the scat. And it looks like over on the right upper side, the large piece at the upper right side looks like it might have a small bone in it. So whatever this is definitely a meat eater. And we're not seeing seeds or chunks of berry in this.
No.
It's a large meat eater. So unless there was, well, I would say, grizzly bears are still omnivores. They'll still eat
Yeah.
berries and stuff. Hard to say, but I would definitely say this was worth testing. You might have actually stumbled upon some cryptid, some Bigfoot scat, simply based on the fact that one, it's round, very much like you can see on the upper right side that it's definitely round, like much like a human.
Yeah.
And because a lot of animals drop out pellets, but those
Right.
are mostly herbivores. But the amount of hair in this just absolutely says predator.
Yeah, I definitely
Yes,
agree with that.
Shane was just on with Doug Hijack.
Hey Shane,
Hey Shane, hey, I just sent
Yeah,
him a text about some hair sample. Shane, he didn't get back to me. Text
well when he
me,
does,
Shane.
then
yeah,
we'll-
text me Shane on Messenger real quick so I can ask
Hey,
you something.
DA, something I was just doing while y'all were talking about that stuff. I did a Google search on images for gorilla scat, and it looks pretty doggone familiar because all the bear scat I've seen has never been that well formed. It almost looks like a cow patty.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Well, it'll have like little pellets in it too, but yeah.
Yeah. But I was looking
An
at
omnivorous diet will give you odd stools, but that is clearly a predator.
And I'm looking at the gorilla poop on here, and it looks a lot like that.
Really?
Doc
That
out
is
here got to explain his search history to anyone who comes into his
I
house.
know. Man.
Oh, he's a medic. I'm
Pictures of
sure he's
gorilla
searched worse.
turds.
Clear
Can
my
you
search
imagine if
history.
can you imagine if the FBI went and looked at his history?
Oh,
Like, why are
dude.
you using that gorilla
Look,
shit?
fine. I'm a freaking rider.
Yeah.
This is Agent Johnson over here.
I'm gonna throw that back up. One
There's
more.
Agent Johnson. Yeah.
It's just the sheer amount of hair in that. Yeah, it's a meat eater. This is not an omnivore. This is not something that's purely omnivore. You know, if it is Bigfoot scat, I might go as far as to say it's Gugway scat because this is clearly all meat. Its diet is pure meat.
Yeah, it's well formed. It's well formed too, so it's not a loose stool or anything like that. So it's well formed.
Yeah.
High protein diet will do that
I
too.
was just about to say a lot of protein.
Or
And very
me after a
healthy,
week on MREs.
Yeah.
Yes, that
it's a
too.
very healthy scat.
Roughage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It could be. Are there grizzlies out in Oregon, or they're not there yet, or what?
Mondoc says grizzly bear scat probably has sunglasses, shoes, and etc.
Yeah.
And bear bells, and it smells like peppers.
Bells. Get bells, you know.
Yeah.
It's got
Yeah.
bells everywhere, yeah.
People wear these bells, you know.
No, Anthony had a good point. I mean, are there grizzlies in Oregon? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I know that they're seen now. They're being seen in California. I know that.
Yeah, if they've made it all the way down to Northern California, I'd say there's grizzlies.
I know they're up north of Washington. I know.
Yeah,
that.
they're definitely in Canada and in Alaska.
Yeah.
I would say the chances of there being high.
And in Wyoming too. So all
Oh
over.
yeah.
But again,
They've reported ones in Wyoming.
my first instinct when I looked at it would be bear scat. But having said that, it's not an omnivore. It's a meat eater.
It's a carnivore.
Papa says we're not supposed to have grizzlies here, but
Good night, little Patty.
Not
he
little
said,
Patty.
but you know,
Yeah.
I mean, they've been known to travel. Like I said, they're in Northern California now. They got video and pictures of a couple of them in the field. So you got to go. I mean, still, that would be that. I don't know. Could it be grizzly scat? I don't know.
No. I don't believe so.
I don't know.
Yeah, first instinct would be to say grizzly because of the size of it. But like Doc said, the formation looks closer to human.
Right.
I didn't see the gorilla poop pics, but I guess I could Google them. It's not the worst thing that's going to be in my browser history.
And now he said he's seen a Sasquatch later that day.
Well, if he saw one later that day, he definitely one in the area.
No, I mean,
You put two and poo together, and there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, it may not be rock hard solid evidence, but it is what we call circumstantial. I would certainly say that there's a high possibility that's what it is because it's a large predator, and that's a good sized pile. How long is that knife? It looks like it's pretty good size. I would guess probably in the 7 to 8 inch
Probably about
range.
three and a half inch blade and about a 4-inch handle, so about 7
Yeah.
inches.
7 to 8 inches. Yeah, so it's not a small knife. Meg says that's not bear scat like I've seen. Once I started really looking at it, it doesn't really look like a lot of bear scat. But that was my first instinct because of the size of it.
I don't know anything
I
about
saw a
animal
lot of
crap,
bear
man.
doo-doo up in Wyoming.
Yeah, I
When I was
don't.
back in Wyoming, I saw a lot of bear poop.
Mm-hmm. I've seen quite a bit of it in my time as well.
He said that's 7 inches.
Harry, shirt, please. They want to see your shirt.
Yeah, Papa Craig says it was a 7-inch knife.
Man, man.
That's the correct way to take a knee.
Well, I like that. Doc and I were pretty spot on the guess on that. So right at 7 inches. So that means that's a good sized pile.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's weird. That looks more human than anything.
Yeah, that the knife is that long. So.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
should
folks,
actually look that up.
we are coming up on the 2.5 hour mark.
Yeah.
I think tonight's experiment using Melon instead of StreamYard was pretty good. Obviously, there's some kinks we got to work out of the system. Like any new system, we're going to have to learn it a little better.
Yeah.
Now, had that poop been bigger than the scallywag gunner's mate, that would have been a big pile of poo.
Yeah.
I would have been like, well, look at the size of that crap. It's time to grab my crap and go. If you see something with a 12-inch pile of poo, get out.
Coincidentally,
that's just time to clean yours down and go. Yeah.
Yeah, Doc's like, well, man, I just added to the pile.
Yeah, exactly. I just pooped in my pants.
Good thing I had my brown pants on.
That's what I say. Got to clean them out and go. You know.
But before we go, I would like to take a brief moment to not only thank our mods and our Patreon supporters, but I would also like to have a little word from our sponsor, good Mr.
Not him again.
Oh,
Him
here we
again?
go. Here
Him
we go.
again? Jesus Christ.
Who's that guy? Who's
Doc,
that guy?
tell us a little bit about Dark Angel.
Are you doing a commercial or you want me to talk about it?
I can't get the commercial to play right. I
He
can't
doesn't have anything set up yet.
I can't get the commercial to play right.
Hey, Bobby.
Come on, Doc.
Yeah, man. Hey, y'all head over to Dark Angel Medical. You can use a Cryptid 25 for 25% off. That's the biggest discount we give. And that is to all the folks here, just as a way of saying thank y'all for tuning in. You've probably seen our kits in some of DA's books, our little ad in the back of his book. Get a kit, man. Get prepared, get ready, get trained. We also do training as well. Not only just the trauma kits, the first aid kits. We sell everything from boo-boo kits all the way up to mass casualty kits. So it's something these days. I think it's very relevant, very timely that people are prepared for whatever tragedy may befall you. And I use this word a lot. It's incumbent on you to be ready, to be prepared, and be an asset rather than a liability. So use that. Go to darkangelmedical.com and check out our products, our offerings. And if you ever do use one of our kits to save someone's life, then all you need to do, let us know, shoot us an email, and whatever it is that you've used, we'll replace it absolutely 100% free of charge. That's called our Kit for Life guarantee. And we have been fortunate enough to replace kit components for over 150 kits to date. So pretty awesome stuff. So y'all check us out and get trained up, because we're going to be heading into the 2023 year, getting our training schedule going. So
awesome.
That's 150 people that are still walking around breathing thanks to your kits, Doc.
Yeah,
right.
I appreciate it, man.
I have something else to say. I just got a message back from Doug Highcheck.
Woohoo!
Heck yeah.
He said happy to. You can send it, and he gave me the address, and I'm gonna send that to you, Robbie.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's awesome. And you can send it to Doug, and he can let us know exactly what it is.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so, that's great, man.
That's like great. I said, it may be nothing, but it's definitely something.
We won't know until we find out, right?
Heck yeah. So when we get the results from Doug, we'll do that update here on the show. Before we go, again, if you're gonna go out, whether it's hunting, fishing, backpacking, camping, whatever you are away from basic services, even if it's encrypted hunting, kayaking, whatever you're doing, if you're away from basic 911 services, carry a kit, carry a first aid kit. I recommend Dark Angel kits because I carried those on duty as a cop, and I will put my life in the hands of Doc's kits any day of the week. Any of the nurses I worked with. Carry a medical kit, because the life you save could be your own. Wherever you're going, make a plan. Wherever you're going, let somebody know who's not going with you, where you're going, and when you're supposed to be back. That way, if you fail to return, somebody knows to look for you. Go on Amazon or go to Walmart and buy yourself a life straw. Best $20 investment you're ever going to make. If you're out someplace and you run out of water, you can literally put the end of a life straw in a puddle of water and drink straight from it. It filters out even low end radiation. It's good for about 100,000 gallons of water. Keep one in your pack. Keep one in your car. Life straws are invaluable. Get you a couple of space blankets. Throw them in your pack. They weigh nothing. You can buy a 20 pack for like $5 off Amazon. They literally weigh next to nothing. And not only will they keep you warm in an emergency, as Doc pointed out, they will also help fool IR.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Also,
Robbie, I sent you.
Take a slower friend with you.
Yeah. Take something to defend yourself. Because what the things you run out of there are plenty of things that are not cryptid related that can and will hurt you or kill you. Mountain lions, bears, snakes, the greater North American meth head.
I got it, Anthony.
All right, man.
You could run into any of the above. You have the right to defend yourself and to come home safe. Even if you don't believe in firearms, take a knife, take a hatchet, take a walking stick, something you can use to defend yourself. Come home to your family. What's that, Noah?
I said take a sword. You want to walk around?
Yeah. Yeah. Noah's got plenty of cutlery.
Walk around the woods looking like this. Go right ahead.
Or Doc's got one behind him.
Yeah.
But the thing is be safe. Make a plan. Make sure you stick to the plan. Make sure somebody knows where you're going. Take a med kit because a medic is too heavy to carry. Unless it's Doc, you could just put him in one of those baby Bjorns and carry him around.
I was about to say I could wear him like a backpack.
Who runs Bartertown?
Doc, I'll get you a couple stirrups and I'll put them on. I'll put them on my waist,
Just
and then
give
you
me like a rip cord so I can just do a quick cutaway if I need to.
Oh yeah. You wear the backpack. I wear you like a backpack, and we just go walking around, right?
There you go.
And again, just be safe and come home safe. And
Mary had a good question.
remember Dark Angel Medical. If you haven't had a chance to read my books, you can check out all of my books. I have 26 currently in print, very close to finishing 27. It's getting there. So look for release information not only for Bands Marauders coming soon, but also for the audio book of Codename Wild Hunt, Curse of the Wendigo, narrated by Cameron Buckner. It's in final edits now, so hopefully we'll have release information in the next few days, maybe as much as a week, depending on how long the last edits take. So we've got some releases coming up. Check out everything over at daroberts.net. If you want to support on the Patreon channel, go to patreon.com/darobertsauthor and help us get equipment and help create the DA verse, because I do have people that are actively involved. So I want to again thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have an amazing night. Thank you guys for being here, Doc, Noah, Anthony, Robbie, Uncle John. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We have had a great time tonight, and we look forward to doing it again on Saturday when we are going to be doing a show about the Wendigo. So I hope you guys will join us for that. And next Wednesday we'll have an update with Robbie's pictures and videos, and a lot of cool stuff coming. And send your accounts to DA Roberts at daroberts.net if you'd like them read on the air. We would love to hear them. And thank you guys for being with us. Thank you guys for spending this Wednesday evening with us. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you guys on Friday. Good night, everybody. Good night, and God bless.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for joining.